Part 22. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Bulletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 211. Puff. Ha ha ha. When Gu Huiyan talked about bugs like smelly sister, many people in the comment area suddenly lost their guard. I know this stuff, it's so stinky and disgusting. The smell of squeezing it to death has been stinking for a long time. Now that I have that thing at home, I don't even dare to crush it to death. I just grab it and throw it out. The key is, if you grab it with your hands, it will smell bad. It's disgusting. The official name of the smelly eldest sister is actually Jiaoqing. Also known as stink bug, spicy nose bug, etc. This thing can be found all over the country. No, it should be said that it can be found all over the world. It is a very common insect. Although with the development of modern agricultural technology and the extensive use of pesticides and fertilizers, the number of smelly sisters is getting smaller and smaller, but people today have not forgotten it. Smelly sister. Su Yuntang frowned. Why does this name sound so familiar and yet so awkward? He's just a stinker, right? The elder sister looked at Gu Huiyan with a pair of phoenix eyes and asked. Yes, this thing is just like a cicada. It's called differently in different places. Anyway, as long as you know what it is. Gu Huiyan said. Oh. Su Yuntang's face suddenly showed that he knew what it was. Then he became curious. What does your not eating cilantro have to do with this bedbug? When he asked this question, before Gu Huiyan said anything, Xilan smiled first. Then Gu Huiyan also replied. The reason why I don't eat coriander is because when I was a kid, I found this stuff to be very smelly, and coriander tastes a bit like that. Do you guys understand? As soon as these words came out, Su Yuntang was stunned. Puff. Ha ha ha. Netizens watching the show next door went crazy with laughter. Barrage blast. Yes, even if I don't eat coriander, I think it tastes very similar to that stuff. It's so disgusting. Gu Huiyan, did you put a camera on me? Are you trying to play me? I really didn't expect there to be anyone like me. I used to think they tasted like I was embarrassed to say. I've never understood the psychology of those people who think the smelly sister is disgusting but can eat coriander. It's over, I can't look directly at Xiaonkei anymore. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x20. Ft. Cluck. Xilan was also teased so much that she giggled. Her sister raised her hand and gently covered her red lips. Her delicate body was trembling with laughter, and she obviously resonated deeply with her. As for the actor Su, in front of the camera, there was Su Yuntang, who was so elegant and graceful that his face couldn't help but tremble a few times. Yes. When Gu Huiyan said this, he suddenly found that he could not look directly at Xiaonkei. He knew both the smell of stinky bugs and the smell of coriander. He had never thought of these two things together before, let alone whether they looked like this. But today, when Gu Huiyan said this, he suddenly discovered that the taste of these two things seemed to be somewhat similar. Maybe it's true that coriander doesn't smell bad, and that smelly bug is a bit more exaggerated, but the taste of the two is indeed somewhat similar. When Gu Huiyan said this, for some reason, when Su Yuntang thought of coriander, he subconsciously thought of the smell of the smelly sister. It's so top-notch. He is a person who likes to eat coriander so much. When he is mentioned in this way, he feels that he has eaten coriander for so many years, just like the smelly elder sister. Like some netizens, he really can no longer look directly at Xiaonkei. The expression on Su Yuntang's face was so wonderful. You couldn't tell whether he was crying or laughing. He wanted to retort with a few words to comfort his traumatized heart, but he didn't know what to say. Ah ha ha. Netizens laughed like crazy and felt that actor Su was so miserable. No matter what the topic was, he was always the one who got hurt. Among the three of him, Gu Huiyan, and Xylan, he was the only one who ate coriander, and he was the only one who was injured. Of course, a large group of cilantro-eating netizens also appeared in the comment area, criticizing Gu Huiyan. He said that they no longer dare to eat Hunan cuisine because he was so wicked. Gu Huiyan, it was another day that he was reported online every day. Cough. Finally, it was Xylan who was dressed in white. She coughed lightly, attracting the attention of several people. When Gu Huiyan and Su Yuntang looked over, she said, "This stink bug has a particularly nice name, it's called the 9-fragrance bug. 9 flavored insects can be used as medicine. Traditional Chinese medicine has the effects of regulating qi and relieving pain, warming the middle and supporting yang." As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. Wak, does this thing still have this effect? Netizens are a little confused. Who would have thought that the despised bedbugs can be used as medicinal materials? Traditional Chinese medicine is really profound. Gu Huiyan was also stunned for a moment, and couldn't help but echoed. "I've heard people say before that this thing can cure that, kidney-related yangtail." When he said this, he immediately felt that something was wrong. He quickly waved his hand towards the camera and said, "No, I didn't do anything. That's really what I heard." And at the same time, "Ft, ha ha ha." Netizens next door were laughing like crazy. Everyone said, "You, 6, really can't speak your mind. Ha ha ha, is this allowed to be said? That's all you really care about, right? There really isn't anything good about a man. I haven't slapped you for a long time, so you're trying to show off again, right? Brothers copy the guy." Puff. Xylan and Su Yuntang were also amused by him. My sister was generous and not too red-faced to discuss this kind of issue. She just said, 9 flavored insects are mainly used to treat cold and distended stomach pain, gas pain in the liver and stomach, and pain in the waist and knees. As you said, the kidneys need yangtail, which is also included in this." When she said that kidneys need yangtail, my sister looked at Gu Huiyan a few times. The look in her eyes made Gu Huiyan feel uncomfortable. "Then I definitely don't need to eat this stuff. I definitely don't need it at my age." Gu Huiyan specifically emphasized this point. Movie Emperor Su was stunned for a moment. "What you are saying is the same as who needs to eat this? Oh, at your age, you don't need it, but at my age, do you? Who are you mocking? Ah ha ha ha. Goose." Netizens laughed out loud, "These two people are so funny." There is a saying that Su Yuntang's style has gone astray due to being led by Gu Huiyan. A mature man who used to be so elegant, personable, and calm is now able to quarrel with Gu Huiyan. It also makes me laugh to death. "I didn't say you need to eat, brother." Gu Huiyan was still happy. Su Yuntang was about to refute, but Gu Huiyan reacted and said, "No, brother, we are in front of Sister Xylan, a girl. How about we stop talking about this kind of topic? You." Su Yuntang was so angry that he almost slammed the half-drunk bowl of sweet foam on Gu Huiyan's head on the spot. Giggle. Xylan was laughing so much that she could hardly stand upright, and there was really no one else between the two of them. My sister suppressed her smile a little and told Gu Huiyan, "The stinky sister you are talking about, I remember that people in some places like to eat it. It's just like the silkworm chrysalis and that, cicada monkey. It can be fried and eaten. It is very popular in many places." Woolen cloth. Huh? Real or fake? Gu Huiyan didn't know, nor did he want to know, that he could eat silkworm chrysalises and cicada monkeys, but he certainly couldn't eat the smelly eldest sister. He doesn't eat coriander that tastes similar to the smelly eldest sister. How can he eat this thing? What a joke. Ha ha. Viewers of the show also said that it was really the knife that opened my butt today. Who would have thought that this stinky sister could have so many uses? Gu Huiyan was also curious about how Xylin knew this. Xylin replied that she had played the role of a female Chinese medicine doctor before and had studied it for a period of time. Gu Huiyan was quite surprised and said, "Sister, you are so serious and careful. You really play a role and learn a profession." Xylin laughed and joked that there was no such thing. There were tricks to playing roles. For example, when she played the role of a female Chinese medicine doctor, many people who have studied Chinese medicine for more than 10 years would not dare to say that they have become an expert. She was just filming. How could it be possible after studying the system for a month or two? She just picks some relatively unpopular things and learns them carefully. When she is acting, she occasionally throws in some unpopular things, and the audience will think, "Oh, it has a taste." This stinky elder sister happened to be in the unpopular content she was studying. Oh. After hearing this, Gu Huiyan clapped his hands repeatedly, saying that he wasted his time learning. The two chatted happily, but they left the actor Su alone, which gave him a headache. He suddenly felt like an outsider, like a light bulb. Netizens also noticed this and began to feel sorry for Su Yuntang again. In the midst of laughter, the breakfast for several people came to a successful conclusion. Surrounded by nearby people and saying goodbye to some dear people, they walked down the road. "Where to go next?" asked the actor Su. "The best spring in the world," Gu Huiyan replied. "Oh, I know that." Su Yuntang nodded. He had done his homework before coming here, but how do we get there? I came here by bus just now. Are you taking the bus now? No more taking the bus. Gu Huiyan grinned, which made Su Yuntang secretly relieved. He thought Gu Huiyan had discovered it and planned to give them a taxi or something. Who knows? Just a few steps out, I turned a corner. A large number of blue, yellow, and orange shared bicycles appeared in front of them. Before Su Yuntang could react, Gu Huiyan walked over with his cell phone and said, "Let each of you scan one." Su Yuntang. Audience. At this moment, the barrage in the live broadcast room of One Food Guest is filled with all kinds of question marks. The audience laughed like crazy and couldn't help but express, "It has to be you, Gu Huiyan, you are like no one else in terms of hospitality. Ahaha, you are the one who takes big celebrities on buses and rides on shared bicycles. Brother, if you don't have money, I'll give you a reward and give you a ride. Even if the weather isn't hot, why don't you let my goddess ride a shared bicycle?" Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x5. Everyone really didn't expect that when Gu Huiyan took Su Yuntang and Xylin to play in the city, the means of transportation turned out to be share bikes. When we were in Yunnan, we rented an electric scooter after all. Why the hell did it become more and more degraded as we got around? It's not like you have no money, you've become such a popular guy, I don't want to say too much, you must have a monthly income of 100. Even if you can afford to buy a car temporarily, why don't you take people to ride shared bicycles? Ah! The actor Sudu was so angry. To be honest, either he was used to Gu Huiyan's behavior or he was arguing with Gu Huiyan in front of the camera. Xylin didn't mind, but looked at Gu Huiyan with interest. She said that even Xylin was a little surprised that Gu Huiyan could ride a shared bicycle now that he was so famous. This is convenient. Gu Huiyan pointed to the navigation on his phone and said, "It's only 10 minutes away from here. It's more convenient to ride this than taking the bus." He had an honest, naive expression, but he was sincere. Actor Sumomo raised his eyebrows. He wanted to say that in your world you only ride shared bicycles and take buses. Can't you just take a taxi? Hey! Come on, this is easy to ride. Gu Huiyan laughed. He admitted that he was a little bit funny because of the effect of the show, but in fact he really likes riding shared bicycles. For short distance travel in the city, he can stop and go. Shared bicycles are better than any other. The tools are comfortable and not tiring. I've never ridden this before. Xylin held her cell phone and tinkered in front of the shared bicycle for a long time but couldn't figure it out. She couldn't help but ask Gu Huiyan how to do this. This shared bicycle has been out for several years, but Xylin has never ridden it. There are really few places to use the bicycle in daily life. Besides, she is a big star, and people will be watching her wherever she goes. I'll get it for you. Gu Huiyan went to help, but he was very knowledgeable. He easily took Xylin's phone and helped her scan, bind, and unlock it. Xylin stood on his left side. It happened that the big wave on her sister's head today was to the right. Gu Huiyan took her mobile phone to scan the QR code. She was also curious to see that the shoulders and Gu Huiyan's shoulders were close together. Then, her big wave will also ride on Gu Huiyan. There is a saying that when you are close to a woman, you will feel the body fragrance, and when you are close to a woman's hair, the hair fragrance and body fragrance will be blended together, in a way that maximizes your breath as if it is free. At this moment, being so close to Xylin, the scent of her sister and the charm of a woman made Gu Huiyan's heart beat faster inexplicably. Cough. He had no choice but to cough lightly and turn his head to get some air. What are you doing? It's all tied up, why don't you scan it? Seeing that he was distracted, Siren couldn't help but ask. When he looked up, he found that Gu Huiyan was distracted with his head sideways. The elder sister was stunned at first, then smiled, raised her hand and pushed Gu Huiyan gently, and said, "Can you be more serious?" "I'm very serious." Gu Huiyan smiled a little sheepishly. The two of them were talking and laughing very close to each other, and there was an inexplicable ambiguity. Oh. In the comment area, some CP fans began to appear. One thing to say is that after Gu Huiyan called Pei Jingshu on the bus, they should not have yelled at Gu Huiyan or others. But I can't help it these days, the audience just loves to talk a little bit about CP. Gu Huiyan and Su Yuntang were both criticized, and someone even named them Ansu CP. When Gu Huiyan and Xylin were in Crystal Love Season, they had a sibling CP named Looking to the West CP. Perhaps now Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu are boyfriend and girlfriend, and Pei Ban takes care of the CP has completely become a regular partner. But the CP of siblings was also very exciting. So in fact, they are either making trouble or doing archaeological research. Occasionally knock on it, it's nice. They are knocking, next door to the boiling sheep. Movie King Suk. Aim. Those back molars of his were so damn fast broken. I really regret calling Gu Huiyan here, really. Let's just say that the actor Su has really become smarter recently. Looking at the scene made him feel uncomfortable, so he simply called out to Gu Huiyan and said, "Xiao Gu, I'm not very good at doing this. Why don't you come and do it for me too?" "Oh okay, come right away." Gu Huiyan hurriedly cleaned up Sister Xylin and went to help Su Yuntang. Haha. Netizens were all happy and expressed that our movie star Su was about to succeed. While laughing, the three of them swept away the shared bicycles and rode to the scenic spot. The roads in the city here are actually not the conventional asphalt roads, but they seem to be stone roads, but they are smoother, and even cars can pass them. It is worth mentioning that the cameramen responsible for filming them were very hard-working. They did not ride shared bicycles like Gu Huiyan and others, but they also sat on the electric bicycles arranged by the program team. Speaking of this, the program team and camera crew really want to complain. They usually record. The best means of transportation is a car. It's not too strenuous to sit in a car and follow the filming. But the old man Gu Huiyan didn't play by the rules, so he just took the bus and built a shared bicycle for them. Please. Carrying a camera is very heavy, and even these professional PD teachers will never be able to record well while riding a shared bicycle. Sit in a car and record it? They are riding shared bicycles on non-motorized lanes. Where in the city do cars dare to go on non-motorized lanes? If they walk separately, there is no way to follow them. So the program crew had to temporarily go to a nearby electric car store and buy a few electric cars. Even so, the camera teachers were also speechless, because it's not easy to shoot on an electric car. The space is very narrow. At this moment, both the program team and several cameramen were very angry with Gu Huayan, wishing they could kill him. As a matter of fact, no matter where Gu Huayan goes during his variety show, the followers who are responsible for following him are pretty miserable. As for his shadowing teacher in Crystal Love Season, whenever he mentioned Gu Huayan later, he always complained. But then again, when Xylan, a mature sister wearing white trousers, was riding a shared bicycle and the camera showed her back, the netizens began to thank Gu Huayan again. Because when riding a bicycle, my sister can perfectly highlight her amazing peach butt. Today I thought about the follow-up plot of Shang's Huayan. It can be considered a self-defeating thing. I feel that the plot arranged later is very exciting. I also arranged a song for her. Wait and see, she will appear again. It makes you feel distressed and loved at the same time, giving you goosebumps. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 212. Girls with good figures wear pants. No matter whether they are tight or not, as long as they are normal pants, they will give some shape to the buttocks when riding a bicycle. Red carpet goddess Xylan's peach butt is famous throughout the domestic entertainment industry, but today she wore a pair of pure white pants. The pants themselves were slim-fitting, and when she sat on the bicycle, her flawless butt was highlighted to the fullest. When the camera was shown there, many netizens were not calm. They all expressed, "Sister Xylan, I'm sorry, I've been under a lot of pressure lately. I, Zhu Yuchen, from Xi'an No. 3 Middle School, launched under my real name. I just want to say that from now on, Sister Xylan, you will be my mentor." It turns out that I wrongly blamed Gu Huayan from the beginning to the end. Haha. My sister is my sister, and she is full of the charm of a mature woman. Today's gold-rimmed glasses are so elegant, and now riding a shared bicycle seems to take away the soul of a person. It's simply amazing. When Gu Huayan called Xylan and Su Yuntang to ride shared bicycles just now, many people were still complaining about Gu Huayan, saying that this kid was too shitty and so on. As soon as my sister's peach butt came out, my dear, these LSPS immediately stopped scolding and even thanked Gu Huayan. One Jiuer said that Gu Huayan was in the atmosphere, and he was seeking benefits for his brothers. It caused a burst of laughter. While they were laughing, Gu Huayan and the others were chatting and riding their bikes, and soon they arrived at the number 1 spring scenic area in the world. Along the way, Gu Huayan would introduce them to some local place names and so on, but to be honest, the urban area had nothing special, it was just commercial things. Oh. I'm coming. It's worth mentioning that maybe the news that they were nearby spread out. There were so many people near the scenic spot that the program team had to call some scenic spot security guards to protect Gu Huayan and the others. It's not a celebrity show, it's mainly to protect their safety. Who knows if there are any bastard fans at the scene, and there are also some idiot fans who threaten the artist's safety. It's not that bad in the past 2 years. In the past, we could often see celebrities being knocked down by idiots at events. Gu Huayan, Xylan, and Su Yuntang are all very valuable, and the program team can't afford it if anyone has an accident. Gu Huayan. Sister Xylan. The people nearby became very enthusiastic and chattered to say hello to Gu Huayan and the others. Some asked for photos and autographs, and some took videos and photos with their mobile phones. Maybe they know that Gu Huayan is a local. Many people nearby greet Gu Huiyan in local dialects. Gu Huiyan himself often responded to passers-by and their cameras, and would always answer in dialect when he was occasionally greeted in dialect. It's just because I don't have much time during the recording of the show, otherwise I would have taken photos and signed autographs with them. My brother is so popular, tisk tisk. Netizens couldn't help but sigh. Maybe it's because Gu Huiyan is a local and is really popular in the local area. More people call his name than Xylan and Su Yuntang in the crowd. You know, Xylan and Su Yuntang are well-known actors with high national popularity. Nationality, popularity, and traffic are two different concepts. For example, if you say that an artist has high traffic, it may be because many young people know him. If you say that this artist has high popularity, then many people may just know his name but not what he does. And nationality is close to crushing the first two. In the true sense, everyone of all age groups knows, recognizes, and knows that he is a big star. Only then can he be said to have high nationality. As movie kings and movie queens, why do Xylan and Su Yuntang have such high status in the industry? Isn't it because their nationality is high? But they were very popular in the local area. At this moment, more voices in the crowd were calling Gu Huiyan than calling them. It's enough to imagine how popular Gu Huiyan is in the local area. When entering the scenic spot, Gu Huiyan heard a little girl nearby saying in dialect, "You are the pride of our Quancheng." Oh! These words also caused a resonance, and many people nearby were shouting. After hearing this, Gu Huiyan grinned and replied, "Don't take it seriously, don't take it seriously. I'm just a singer. I can't be proud of anything." Xylan smiled after hearing this, and even Su Yuntang couldn't help but give him a high look. Some artists come from small cities, just like Gu Huiyan. There are actually no celebrities in their local area. When you think of the city, you usually can't think of any well-known artists. It is precisely because of this that they become famous, and those who are chasing stars will say that they are the pride of such and such a city. What a long shark little pride or something. It just sounds awkward and embarrassing. Fans really like this, because if they become popular, they can bring some publicity to their hometown city, so many locals won't say anything even though they don't really approve of it. Just like the girl just now called Gu Huiyan the pride of Quancheng, and the people around her became excited. But to be honest, if you ask Gu Huiyan to say that he is the pride of the local area, he really can't say such shameless words. The local area has many things to be proud of. The police and firefighters who protect the order of the city, the leaders who work for the development of the city, and those who are well known in the local area, have contributed a lot of GDP to the city, and provided jobs for many local people. Enterprises, they are more like the pride of the city. Gu Huiyan has done nothing for the city. What little publicity can he contribute? He is just well known. When others mention him, they will think of his hometown here. It is just a false name. What kind of pride is it? He is the one who can't bear the most embarrassment. He. Many viewers who watched the show enjoyed it and expressed, "Gu Huiyan, this old man, is afraid that others will give him a high hat, haha. Gu Huaqiang, reject all flattery. I feel like he is quite down to earth." Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x20. System points are credited to your account. Reject all pretense, start with Gu Huiyan. After entering the scenic spot, there were obviously fewer people. After all, tickets are required here. The program team found a tour guide to take Gu Huiyan and the others inside. While walking, he introduced the place and talked a lot about its history. Xylan and Su Yuntang nodded while listening. It is worth mentioning that Gu Huiyan, the old man, was also stunned for a while. Siren also asked, "As a local, you don't know this history. It's not necessary for locals to know everything, right?" Gu Huiyan scratched his head and smiled. Although he is a local, he has not been to the #1 spring scenic spot in the world that often. There are many things that locals don't know. Zylan smiled. Just then they wandered into a small pavilion, which seemed to sell locally made ice cream in the shape of the best spring in the world. Zylan and Suyuntang's eyes lit up when they saw it. The tour guide introduced to them that this was designed based on the shape of the spring in front, which was very exciting. He also said that this was an internet celebrity ice cream, the kind that was sold out, and asked Zylan and Suyuntang if they wanted to try it. Okay. Of course, Zylan nodded and wanted to taste it, but when asked about Gu Huiyan asked. Just tell me how much this ice cream costs. The tour guide was stunned for a moment and then said. 20 pieces. Have to. Gu Huiyan raised his hand and said that you can eat it? I don't need it. I can just buy it at the door for 2 or 3 yuan and eat it. Puff. Ah ha ha ha. At that time, many viewers laughed crazy and expressed. You bastard, you, are convinced. I remember that the first time Gu Huiyan made me remember him in Crystal Love Season was when he refused all ice cream assassins. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect the scene to happen again, so funny. When many viewers first got into Gu Huiyan, it was actually because of his rejection of the ice cream assassin. At that time, Gu Huiyan, Pei Jingshu, and Shang Zuoyan had just arrived at the Crystal Courtyard to record a show. Gu Huiyan moved a box for Shang Zuoyan. Shang Zuoyan said she didn't know how to thank him, and he politely asked Shang Zuoyan to treat her to a meal. Ice cream is something that only exists. To this day, recalling Shang Zuoyan's disgusted expression at that time, many viewers still can't help laughing. I didn't expect that there would be a famous scene reenacted today. Zylan and Suyuntang were also amused by him. This guy is really a talent. He is so famous. He is still reluctant to buy ice cream for 20 pieces. In fact, it's not that I'm reluctant to buy it. The main reason is that the values are left there. That is, Gu Huiyan is a local and is afraid that people will say that he is smearing his hometown. Otherwise, he will directly say that this 20-piece ice cream has an IQ tax. Oh, get a local architectural design to make ice cream shapes and sell them for 20 apiece? Which fool are you trying to fool? It's just to fool those outsiders who like to check in. It's not like the locals have never seen those buildings. At this time, the tour guide smiled and said. No need to pay, we'll treat you to food here. Because Gu Huiyan and the others came to record the show as a kind of publicity for the local area, so they could still afford a piece of ice cream. What's funny is that Gu Huiyan, who had a rejection look on his face just now, his eyes lit up after hearing these words, and then he changed his face in Sichuan opera and said with a smile. Then you can really try this. I have admired the name for a long time. After saying that, he followed the tour guide in to pick out ice cream to eat. Ah ha ha ha. The audience couldn't stop laughing, they wanted to say, Gulalu, can you change your face so quickly? Maybe it's because you don't have to spend money to eat the ice cream. Gu Huiyan is so sensible. After taking one bite, he advertises in front of the camera how delicious the ice cream is. I can't stand the barrage anymore, and it's all going crazy. Watch your face. While laughing, several people also arrived at the mouth of the world's largest spring. There is a saying that before seeing the spring, this city always felt ordinary, no different from a regular city. But after seeing the spring, you will find that there are still some wonders of nature hidden under the city. Gurgling. There will be spring water flowing out from the center of the spring eye. The spring water is very clear and cool, and the visibility is very high. Zylan and Suyuntang took several photos with their mobile phones. The tour guide introduced the history of this place, and the atmosphere was quite harmonious. Because I walked slowly and carefully, the tour guide introduced almost everything, so when I came out of the #1 spring in the world, it was actually already late, after 11 o'clock. It's almost time for lunch. Then, what shall we have for lunch? The actor Soo put on a pair of black sunglasses and spent the whole morning shopping. In fact, they had already digested what they had eaten in the morning. Eat the special meat here? Gu Huiyan asked casually, and the actor Soo's eyes lit up, saying that he could lead the way. So he and Xilan were taken to a small, not so clean shop in a small alley next to the main road. That store is very small, maybe not even 50 square meters, and the place can't be said to be clean. The tables give people a very oily feeling. Even the purchased meals are served in an orange bowl covered with a plastic bag. It just gives people a feeling of being as cheap as possible, just like the kind of lunch boxes sold next to a construction site. It was a bit awkward for some viewers to see, and they couldn't help but express. No, you, Gu Huiyan, are you going to take Sister Xilan and Brother Soo to a place like this for lunch? I was thinking that since I ate at a roadside stall in the morning, why can't I be more serious about lunch? Isn't there a super Italian revival restaurant over there? You can go there too. As a result, a local came out and said. I can only say that Gu Huiyan really brought out the highest ritual of local hospitality. I've been to that shop. It doesn't look good, but the meat is really good. Why are there so few people? Is it not time for dinner? MD Labor and Management didn't have anywhere to sit down last time. There was no place to sit down and eat. Originally, Su Yuntang and Xilan thought that the place Gu Huiyan brought them to was a bit too shabby, but when the actor Su took a bite of the meat here, their eyes lit up. It does taste different. And Xilan clearly noticed the location of the door. Slowly, there were more and more people. It seemed that it wasn't because of them, because many people didn't look at them after they came in, and went straight inside to buy food. Time passes. There are more and more people. At first, there were still enough seats in the store, but then they gradually disappeared. Then people who came in could only buy and take away, and then there's no place to even stand. This made it difficult for some dear people who came to watch them after hearing the news to squeeze in. Some of the people who came in and didn't buy food were just watching them, and they were scolded by the older brothers nearby. There was no place for MD workers to buy lunch. You guys came in and didn't buy anything, so you were just occupying the latrine there and not shitting. What a thing. It's also funny. Xilan and Su Yuntang didn't expect that they would be the safest in the most crowded place today. At this time, Gu Huaqiang finally said. This store is quite famous in the local area. Internet celebrities often come to check in, so it is quite popular, so we came early. There will definitely be no place to eat now. Only then did Su Yuntang and Xilan realize that Gu Huiyan really didn't deal with them. Gu Huiyan also said that the delicious food in every city is hidden in the alleys. Many things may look unattractive to you, but they are actually delicious. Actor Su actually feels the same way about this. After recording the show in several cities, many of the fly restaurants on the streets are much more delicious than serious restaurants. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x20. Because of this, the system rewarded Gu Huiyan with a wave of points. It is worth mentioning that Xilan did not eat the meat here because her sister is from an ethnic minority and does not eat pork. Gu Huiyan noticed this and ordered the chicken drumsticks specifically for her sister. Xilan also expressed regret that she could not taste the special delicacies here. After the meal, the program team's car came to pick them up and took them back to the hotel to rest for a while. In the afternoon, we visited a few more attractions. In the evening, Gu Huiyan found a well-known local Shandong restaurant. We can't always be a roadside stall. Gu Huiyan himself didn't care, and it didn't matter if he took Xilan and Su Yuntang to eat in private. Mainly to record programs and promote his hometown. If he always has some roadside stalls or something, the food is indeed delicious, but outsiders may think that these are the only roadside stalls here. Shandong cuisine is the first of the 8 major cuisines. Let alone one of them, it is the well-deserved first. There were so many dishes available, and Su Yuntang was very happy to eat the 9-turn large intestine that Gu Huiyan ordered for Su Yuntang that night. Of course, when the food was served, Gu Huiyan asked specifically, "This thing is, are you sure you have dealt with it completely?" Puff. At that time, the audience laughed crazy, and everyone said, "Gu Huiyan, was it intentional or accidental?" Staff, "It's intentional, eh." Ahahaha, Gu Huiyan, you kid also likes to play tricks too much. Su Yuntang hadn't yet reached Gu Huiyan's point, but Xylan giggled and rolled her eyes at Gu Huiyan and said, "You said that and he wouldn't even dare to eat it?" She was talking about Su Yuntang. She didn't eat it because her sister was from an ethnic minority. Gu Huiyan laughed and said it was a joke. When talking about large intestines, he complained that there was a local farmer selling large intestines. The large intestines sold by others were very expensive. When others said that he would eat them one by one, "If you can't afford it, don't eat it," he deserved a beating. I heard that this grandson, Zay, was hacked some time ago, and he deserves to be hacked to death sooner or later. While laughing, several people were using their chopsticks. Shandong cuisine is heavy on sauce and salt. Fortunately, Su Yuntang is from the north, and Sister Xylan is from an ethnic minority, so she didn't feel that it was too harsh, and she still praised it. After dinner, the recording for the day is completely over. One thing to say, because of Gu Huiyan's presence, this day's recording was quite interesting. This guy is not only down-to-earth, anti-hypocritical, but also funny. Just the things he did today have been on a lot of hot searches. If nothing else, let's just say that he took Xylan and Su Yuntang on the bus and rode shared bicycles. Just ask other celebrities who can do it. Of course, the most popular hot searches here include #Celine's peach butt, #this one. No one expected that when Gu Huiyan took Xylan to ride a shared bicycle, he would actually set his sister's butt on fire. There is a very interesting comment. A netizen said, "I feel like there is always an indissoluble bond between Gu Huiyan and buttocks." This comment has a lot of likes. It's more than 30,000 UN. People who are new to the game can't actually get this point, but anyone who has watched Crystal Love Season can get it. Because when Gu Huiyan was recording the program Crystal Love Season, the program required a performance, so he danced Troublemaker with Shang Xuoyan and slapped her butt. At that time, those people said, "You can easily take pictures of our Fenji's butt." Many people still remember this. Gu Huiyan's nickname Gu Lalu actually comes from here. Speaking of this, Gu Huiyan was scolded for a period of time at that time. Speaking of which, he was scolded often. I didn't get scolded this time, but many people said, "My brother is in the atmosphere." This time they were quite grateful to Gu Huiyan for contributing a visual feast to them. Later, when Xylan saw this hot search, she couldn't laugh or cry. She actually wanted to ask, that is, did her brother do it on purpose? Also, he was always behind me when he was riding the shared bicycle. Was he also peeking? The update in the evening may have to be delayed for a while. I am not feeling well and have a fever. Sorry, friends, I will make up for it later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 213. Look at me, brother, follow me. I'm resisting. My ultimate move, Overlord, is useless to me. Come on. Turtle Sect Kigong Buddha Furious Lotus, what do you think of me, Xiao Yan, in the jungle? In the room. Gu Huiyan was finally able to rest in a hotel room at a normal time after a long absence. I've been crazy busy lately, and I can't sleep normally every day. I'm often busy until late at night, and I go to the hotel to wash up a little and then fall asleep. He, a middle school boy with a game addiction, has been held back for a long time. Playing games. When recording Crystal Love season before, Gu Huiyan didn't understand what Sister Xylan said when she arrived on the first day. I came here to relax on vacation. At that time, Gu Huiyan thought, what kind of relaxation is coming to record a show? Now Gu Huiyan finally understands that for busy popular artists like them, isn't recording a variety show just a way to relax? Although I had been running all day today, I was very tired and my feet hurt a little. Now Gu Huiyan had some hot water to soak his feet, but at least he was able to rest at a normal time. For popular artists like them, being able to take a normal rest is really a luxury. Nice. After taking down a handful of games, Gu Huiyan put down his phone, originally planning to call Pei Jingshu. The main reason is that many people on the Hot Search forum tonight said that the two of them were unfamiliar and that their dialogue was dry. Some even said that Pei Jingshu was just showing off by saying I like you when she came up. This made Gu Huiyan feel helpless. So he was also thinking, should they talk more? Taking his feet out of the foot bath, Gu Huiyan wiped his feet and planned to call Pei Jingshu, but suddenly. Dong dong dong. There was a voice from the other side of the door. Who? Gu Huiyan asked, but there was no sound outside the door. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but become alert, wiped his feet, put on his shoes, walked over, and looked out through the peephole. Sister Xylan. Gu Huiyan was slightly startled when he saw the familiar, exotic face of his sister. He opened the door for her. What's wrong with Sister Xylan at such a late hour? Gu Huiyan opened the door and saw Xylan, who was no longer dressed like a white shark during the day, but had changed into a very loose, relatively mature white pajamas. She has obviously taken off her makeup and taken care of herself. Maybe her facial features don't look as delicate as when she put on makeup, but her sister is really white and glowing, which makes her stand out, you know? Her hair is spread casually without any styling. This sister has a casual beauty. To be honest, Gu Huiyan didn't dare to look at Xylan, mainly because it was time to go to bed at night, and Sister Xylan knocked on his door in the middle of the night in this hotel. How can I put it this way? As if she had seen through his thoughts, Xylan raised her jade hand and gently touched the messy hair on her temples. She smiled helplessly, raised a script in her hand, and said, "Don't think too much, I'm just talking about the script with you." "Oh, that's how it is." Gu Huiyan breathed a sigh of relief silently. In fact, after Shang Xuoyan's incident, Gu Huiyan was really careful now. When someone knocked on the door just now, he didn't open it directly. He always looked through the peephole first. Even though Xylan said they were talking about the script, Gu Huiyan still scratched his head and smiled. "It's so late, it's not appropriate for the two of us to be in the same room, right, Sister Xylan?" Xylan smiled when she heard this and said, "What? Are you afraid that your sister will eat you?" "It's not." Gu Huiyan didn't know how to explain it, mainly because when he and Sister Xylan were in Yunnan. Seemingly sensing his concerns, Xylan explained, "I have been recording the program during the day and have no time. I will leave after recording tomorrow. You are so busy. If you don't chat now, where will you have time to chat?" What she said was indeed true. My sister really didn't have any other intentions when she came here tonight. She really didn't stalk her brother like those little girls. That was too exaggerated. Ha, too. Seeing Sister Xylan's frank look, Gu Huiyan also felt that he was thinking too much. "Come in." He stepped aside and let Sister Xylan come in. Xylan nodded and walked into Gu Huiyan's room with brisk steps. The soundproofing of the hotel here is good, there are carpets on the floor, and you can't hear any footsteps when you enter the room. Why didn't you say who I asked you just now? Gu Huiyan asked as he entered. Xylin walked to the sofa, subconsciously put her hands on her hips, smoothed down her pajamas and sat down. She usually wears too many haute couture dresses. She usually adjusts her skirt like this when sitting down, so that sitting like this won't cause wrinkles in the skirt. Sister rolled her eyes at Gu Huiyan and said teasingly. There are other people living next to you. What will they think if they hear me knocking on your door in the middle of the night? That would really become the light in the dark script incident. 2. Silently holding his forehead, Gu Huiyan nodded, and then helped Xylin pour a glass of water. Then he ran to move the foot-soaking bucket. It didn't matter if he soaked his feet in the room or anywhere, but with Sister Xylin here, it was awkward and impolite to have a foot-soaking bucket in the living room. Are you still soaking your feet? Seeing him move the foot bath bucket, Xylin was actually happy and asked with a smile. Gu Huiyan nodded and replied. I was very busy and very tired some time ago. Then my assistant got me some foot-soaking packets and said that this can relieve fatigue, so I usually take a foot bath when I have nothing to do. Xylin nodded when she heard this, but she didn't expect that Gu Huiyan was quite healthy. I did run too much today, and my feet are a little sore. She lowered her head and glanced at her feet in slippers. She didn't stick them out, but she just felt a little tired. I remember Sister Xylin, you have an injury on your foot, right? Gu Huiyan asked. When we were in Yunnan, my sister went to the mountains with them to pick mushrooms and her feet were sprained. At that time, Xylin said that her feet were always a problem. Xylin smiled helplessly and said. It's rare that you will remember. Ha, I have a good memory. Gu Huiyan thought for a while and said. If you don't mind, would you like to take a dip too? It's quite comfortable. They really walked a lot today. In fact, anyone who has gone out for a day trip knows how sore and refreshing it is. At the end of the day, they are not willing to put their feet on the ground. If nothing else, let's just talk about Dali, Yunnan, where Gu Huiyan and the others recorded the show. There are foot massage parlors everywhere in the ancient city. Do you really think they are not serious? No. They are very serious. It's because there are so many tourists in the area, and everyone's feet hurt from visiting the scenic spots, and there is a huge need to relieve fatigue, so there are so many foot massage shops. Gu Huiyan and the others went shopping today and went back to the hotel to rest for a while at noon. He was so young and energetic that his feet hurt when he walked, let alone Xylin. My sister went shopping with them in high heels in the morning. Convenient. Don't tell me, Xylin really wants to try it. It's convenient for me, but I have used this foot bucket, so you don't mind it, Gu Huiyan replied. How come? Xylin shook her head and smiled. Then I'll trouble you. Fine. Gu Huiyan took the wooden basin and rinsed it a little, then helped Xylin get some hot water, found some material bags Zhang Nuan gave him, and put them in it. Soon the water in the tub changed color, and Gu Huiyan came out with the tub and placed it in front of his sister. Gu Huiyan was very attentive to details. He specially brought a towel for wiping his feet and placed it next to the bathtub. At this time, Xylin was sitting on the edge of the sofa, and Gu Huiyan was squatting in front of her. Looking at her younger brother who was carrying a basin of water to soak her feet, Xylin couldn't help but feel a little excited. I am always moved by this kind of lifelike details. After everything was ready, Gu Huiyan nodded and signaled to Xylin that it was time to take a dip. Xylin nodded. To be honest, she just took it for granted. Now she felt that it was a bit impolite to take off her shoes and soak her feet in front of Gu Huiyan. But in retrospect, her brother had already massaged her feet, so what was the point of soaking her feet in front of him? So Xylin stopped squirming, took out her white and delicate feet from the slippers, slightly rolled up the legs of her pajamas, and put the little feet into the tub in front of Gu Huiyan. Gilug. Gu Huiyan swallowed and looked away. He said that Xylan's feet were really amazing. Those people who are making fun of me on the internet keep calling jade feet all day long. They have never seen anything called jade feet. Gu Huiyan can guarantee that anyone who sees Xylan's feet will never make fun of her again. My sister's feet wear high-priced high-heeled shoes every day. She often repairs and maintains them, so she can't see any dead skin on her feet. Of course, Gu Huiyan doesn't deny that it's because she can't see the soles of her feet, but she only looks at the insteps. It feels almost like my hand. People say that my sister's legs are not legs, but spring water on the banks of the Seine. What about the feet? My sister's feet are not feet, they are lollipops on the bedside. Forget it, Gu Huiyan didn't dare to think about it or look at it. I really don't dare to look at this thing anymore. Because if you look at it one more time, it will explode. Hiss. My sister put her feet in the tub. It might be quite comfortable. She couldn't help but take a breath of air. Call. He let out another long breath. There was an expression of enjoyment on his face. After a day of running and soaking your feet, you really can enjoy it more. Cough. Gu Huiyan coughed lightly on the side and wanted to say, Sister Xylan, please pay attention. There is a strong-blooded man here. Sorry, it's too comfortable. Xylan said with a slight blush on her pretty face. Fine. Gu Huiyan waved his hand, then picked up the script Xylan brought and said. Let's talk about the script. He tried his best to use the script to block his view of Xylan's feet, which made Xylan want to laugh a little. She said. I've read everything you sent me, but I'm still curious about how it will develop later. Have you finished writing it? As for scripts, usually those sent to actors will not be complete. On the one hand, some screenwriters may not have finished it, and on the other hand, it is because you can't just give her the complete script before anyone else takes the role, right? If she doesn't answer and uses your story in other places, wouldn't you be a fool? This thing is indescribable. Therefore, the rule in the industry is that the scripts given to actors are generally not the complete version. Therefore, some actors have suffered from bad scripts. Gu Huiyan had finished writing it, but when Mother Zhang sent the script, even the version given by Xylan was definitely an incomplete version. I'll send it to you. After finding a mobile phone, Gu Huiyan planned to send it to Xylan. At first, the system provided both electronic and physical copies. Gu Huiyan actually had an electronic version. Logically speaking, Xylan could not give her the full script before she had accepted the drama, but Gu Huiyan still trusted her. Xylan has an excellent reputation in the industry, and it is impossible for her to do plagiarism due to her position. Hey, don't. Unexpectedly, Xylan actually waved her hand and said helplessly. I can't stand this kind of thing. She rarely uses her mobile phone except for daily Vmail payment chats and phone calls. The script she brought over today was a physical version printed by her assistant. This is not picky, it is just a personal habit. Then this. Gu Huiyan scratched his head, wondering what Sister Xylan meant. Xylan smiled and said. How about you tell me? Gu Huiyan rolled his eyes, smiled helplessly, and said. I've really become a tool. Xylan smiled when she heard this. I'm not tired of you anymore, come on. Okay, then I'm here. Just come. What he said made Xylan feel a little strange, and she helplessly wondered whether it was appropriate for this boy who lived alone in the same room to say such things to his sister. But it was obvious that Gu Huiyan was speaking without thinking. He didn't expect this at all. She began to tell Xylan the story behind her incomplete version of the script. Xylan's jade hands gently held her cheeks, while soaking her feet, she turned her head and listened to Gu Huiyan's words. She stared at Gu Huiyan with a pair of phoenix eyes, feeling inexplicably enjoying herself. Wow! Occasionally, she would move her soaked feet, and her 2 white feet would cross and tilt up. The sound of the water making people couldn't help but feel their hearts fluttering. "Sister, can you stop raising your feet?" Later, Gu Huiyan couldn't hold it any longer, making Xylan giggle and said, "Can I still move?" The two of them chatted like this for a long time. "I really didn't expect you to write scripts." After listening to the complete story, Xylan nodded with great satisfaction. She felt that this script had a beginning and an end. Although it was a relatively bland life-oriented script, which was more everyday, every character in it was quite full-bodied, and because it may feel quite similar to when they recorded Crystal Love Season, so Xylan will have a great sense of immersion. Ha! Gu Huiyan scratched his head, feeling a little guilty because it was actually given by the system. "Did you really write this?" Xylan asked. "That's right," Gu Huiyan nodded. Xylan smiled and said that you are being humble. "Even if you borrow our stories, you wrote them yourself. Doesn't art come from life?" My sister has never been stingy in praising Gu Huiyan. "Okay." The feet were almost soaked. My sister raised her feet, picked up the towel that Gu Huiyan had placed in advance, wiped it gently, dried it, and then put it back on the slippers. Pretty decent. She has no habit of sitting barefoot on the sofa in front of others. If it were Shang Xuan, she would have done that, she was always so carefree. "I'll ask my assistant to contact your company later. If there's no problem, my sister will be your heroine," Xylan said with a smile. She was actually quite serious. Even though the play was written by Gu Huiyan, she still insisted on listening to the complete version of the story and making sure that there were no problems with the script and that it would not be unfinished before accepting it. Of course, this is not certain. She still has to look at the director's team before making a final decision. A good drama is useless if the director doesn't know how to shoot or edit it. "Sister Xylan." Gu Huiyan seemed to have a misunderstanding. He scratched his head and said to Xylan a little embarrassedly, "That, of yours is." He looked coy and hesitant to speak, which made Xylan smile. She couldn't help but ask, "What can't you say directly? Why are you so coy?" She found her brother's shyness quite cute. Gu Huiyan also felt that he was being coy, so he simply said bluntly, "I just hope that you really took this movie because you thought the script was good and could be filmed, not because of me." Sometimes Gu Huiyan feels that he is too sentimental. When he was recording Crystal Love Season in Yunnan, every time Xylan's heartwarming message was sent to him, he felt that his sister might just be doing business and she definitely had no feelings for him. But the night before the recording ended, after Su Yuntang left, he and Xylan kissed on the rooftop of the B/U0026B. After that day, you said that Gu Huiyan still didn't understand what his sister meant to him. Gu Huiyan might have been a fool. Because of this, Gu Huiyan didn't want Xylan to do anything specifically because of him. For example, when he came to Su Yuntang's a gourmet dinner, Gu Huiyan occasionally listened to the staff chatting, saying that Xylan came here because of him. Obviously after that night in Yunnan, her relationship with Su Yuntang was like that, and they had never been in contact, but because of him, she came here to record a program with Su Yuntang. This will make Gu Huiyan feel a little unaffordable. Just like Shang Xuan's love, she liked Gu Huiyan so much. Regardless of whether Gu Huiyan meant it or not, Gu Huiyan hurt her in the end. The way she cried so sadly that night was still fresh in Gu Huiyan's memory. He didn't dare to think about it. Shang Xuan, a proud girl, said that to him. She was a beauty-loving girl who didn't even care about her makeup and tears. She didn't care about her image or her dignity. "I haven't been in good shape recently, and I'm often scolded for paddling on stage. From now on, he doesn't know how he will see Shang Xuan again, and he may even become a stranger. He won't and doesn't want to be like that with Sister Xylan. It doesn't matter if he comes to Su Yuntang's food show just because of him. If he takes over the script of Where the Wind Is because of him, if the show doesn't go well, it will have an impact on Xilan's reputation. That was really something Gu Huiyan couldn't afford. I was kicked out at the last minute, because I still insist on writing while I have a fever. If you have monthly passes, don't be stingy, just throw them all in. Thank you. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Xuan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 214. Although this drama was produced by the system, Gu Huiyan didn't know its level. In addition, it was a dull daily script that was more life-oriented. In recent years, domestic entertainment has been all about various idols and ancient puppets. Filming this kind of drama is inherently risky. Xilan is a drama actor and has an excellent reputation. Do you understand that she shouldn't be the one to try and make mistakes? Another point is, Gu Huiyan is confident in himself. He has talents that can be systematically enhanced by his acting skills. However, this is his first time filming, and he has a lot of negative fans. The plot of this drama is so similar to that of their Crystal Love season. I'm afraid that someone will criticize him and complain about him, and they will also criticize Xilan. In short, no matter what, if Siren took this drama because of him, he couldn't afford it and hoped that she wouldn't do that. And after listening to Gu Huiyan's words, Xilan was stunned at first, not understanding what he meant at first. Soon, my sister smiled, as if she wanted to blurt out something, but she didn't say it. Putting her hands around her chest, after thinking for a moment, Xilan Fangke tilted her head slightly, looked into her brother's eyes, and asked funnily, "Why are you so unsure of your own work? I definitely have confidence in myself, but the type of this show is..." Gu Huiyan wanted to say that after all, the genre of this drama was relatively unique, but he was afraid that it would not be well filmed and would harm Xilan. Xilan also laughed. In fact, she wanted to tell Gu Huiyan that she didn't know it was written by Gu Huiyan when she read the script at first, and she didn't even look for the screenwriter's signature, but after thinking about it, she felt that it was a bit boring to say this. Looking at the kind-hearted Gu Huiyan, Xilan suddenly wanted to tease him, so she suddenly walked closer to Gu Huiyan, and stared at Gu Huiyan with her big bright eyes. Her sister smiled and asked, "Then if my sister said that she accepted this drama just because of you, would you be moved?" The room was quite quiet. The sound insulation effect of the hotel here is pretty good. You can hardly hear the sound from the next room and the corridor. Although it is not very late at this time, there are almost no people outside. The floor they live on is high. Standing in the room, Gu Huiyan seemed to be able to hear Sister Xilan's breathing when she was silent. At this moment, Gu Huiyan would helplessly wonder why things had become like this again. "Sister Xilan, Gu Huiyan wanted to say, "If it's like this, don't answer it," but before he could say anything, "Puck, cluck." Xilan suddenly chuckled, then raised her hand and gently pushed Gu Huiyan's shoulder and said, "I'm kidding you, you're so scared." Gu Huiyan is so funny, he seems to take everything he says seriously, and for some reason, Xilan gradually likes to tease him. Hearing this, Gu Huiyan breathed a sigh of relief. After all, her sister was not so immature, so love-minded, and so impulsive. In fact, even that night in Yunnan, the word restraint did not appear on Gu Huiyan. Instead, it was Xilan who pushed him away. So sister will always be sister. Okay, you don't need to worry. I selected the script in a blind audition. I didn't know it was written by you at first. After the laughter, Xilan stopped joking, explained the reason, and said, "So no matter what problems happen later, it will be my own choice and I don't need you to be responsible for me." Sister's speech was always impeccable, and she calmed Gu Huiyan's heart with just a few words. Maybe it was to comfort Gu Huiyan, but she also said something special. If you don't believe your own words, at least believe in my sister's vision. My sister is still good at selecting scripts after so many years. To be honest, it made Gu Huiyan tremble a little. This kind of mature and gentle big sister is so good at manipulating people. Gu Huiyan was thinking, what if it was not Shang Zuoyan but Shang Zuoyan who wanted to pounce on him that night? Siren, he may really not be able to leave. Can't get away at all. Good. Gu Huiyan nodded. Xilan's few words really put him at ease. In fact, I feel that sometimes, Xilan can make him more at ease than Pei Jingshu. She is very mature and intellectual, and seems to be able to talk about any topic. I still remember that when I went to sing for Pei Jingshu in Singer of the Times, Gu Huiyan's choice of style was a mess, but my sister calmed down the stylist with just a few words. She was really like a backbone to Gu Huiyan. That is to say, Shang Zuoyan cannot be told to Xilan, but suddenly Gu Huiyan really feels like talking to her. Okay, it's getting late, I'm going back. After chatting, looking at how late it was, Xilan chuckled and said, "Thank you for inviting me to soak your feet. See you tomorrow." "Well, I'll send you." Gu Huiyan took Xilan out. They had to record for a gourmet for 2 days. They would visit the remaining special attractions in Quancheng tomorrow morning, and then go to Zibo in the afternoon. This is because Zibo has become the barbecue capital this year. It is very popular in the summer, and countless people come to Zibo to catch up on the barbecue. They may have passed the wave of popularity when they arrived in the local area, but there is still nothing wrong with checking in. Food shows should have this kind of feature. Okay, there's no need to send it away. People should misunderstand it if they see it. At the door, Xilan didn't want Gu Huiyan to see her off. Gu Huiyan was also happy and said with a smile, "If you go out of my room, I will still misunderstand you even if I don't go out." 2. After thinking about it for a while, her sister stopped resisting and let Gu Huiyan take her out. Unexpectedly, they just opened the door and walked out. Facing them, they saw Su Yuntang looking at them blankly in the corridor. It seemed that Su Yuntang was about to go out. He was walking in the corridor just now. He never thought that he would bump into Gu Huiyan and Xilan walking out of a room talking and laughing. Gu Huiyan and Xilan were also stunned for a moment. They looked at Su Yuntang and didn't know what to say for a moment. The three people stood at both ends of the corridor, not speaking for a long time. Xilan and Gu Huiyan probably didn't know how to explain it. After all, they came out of the same room. At this moment, the CPU was running crazy and they subconsciously wanted to explain to Su Yuntang. But the actor Su. In fact, his mentality was a bit broken. Xilan, wearing pajamas and slippers, walked out of Gu Huiyan, a male's hotel room, talking and laughing in the middle of the night. What do you want him to think? How the hell can you keep him from exploding? Although he had known for a long time that Xilan might be interested in Gu Huiyan, and Xilan agreed to come to his show all because of Gu Huiyan, but he never expected that these two people would progress to this point. This time, it's different from before. In the past, whether he saw Gu Huiyan rubbing Xilan's feet, two people riding a horse, or two people eating a bowl of noodles, those things were at most ambiguous and would not make people think too much. But today, Xilan came out of Gu Huiyan's hotel room in the middle of the night. A man and a woman were alone in the same room in the middle of the night. Su Yuntang couldn't even imagine what they were doing there. This big green helmet is really knocking on his forehead. If you don't think about it, he is either pretending to be cool or really stupid. However, before he could speak, Xilan asked, "It's so late, where are you going?" Originally, Su Yuntang wanted to call an army to accuse him, but Xilan's words almost burned his CPU. His first reaction was to wonder whether he should first question why the two of them came out of the same room in the middle of the night, or answer Xilan first. Lin's question. What made him very speechless was that he unexpectedly chose to answer Zylan's question first. He said, "I have something to do with Xiaogu." That's right, the actor Su who went out at this time actually went to find Gu Huiyan. Didn't he want Gu Huiyan to try the theme song of the previous show? He just wanted to ask Gu Huiyan if he had time to write it. Who would have thought that I would just bump into Zylan coming out of Gu Huiyan's room? What he least expected was that he had lost the initiative since he chose to answer Zylan's question first. That's it? Zylan nodded. There was no guilt on her face as if she had been caught doing bad things. Instead, she looked frank. She glanced at Su Yuntang and then at Gu Huiyan. She didn't mean to explain at all, just smiled and said, "Okay, you guys can talk, I'll go back first." After saying that, she actually turned around and walked back to her room in front of Su Yuntang. Zylan was panicked when they met just now, but then she thought about why she was panicking. Su Yuntang was not hers, so he had to take care of it. Explain. Just explain it. Love what you think. Zylan, you. It was rare that the actor Su had the urge to stop Zylan and question her. Huh? What's wrong? But when Zylan turned her head and looked at him with a frank expression, he opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. In the end, he just waved his hand and forced a smile and said, "No, it's okay. You should go to bed early." Zylan's calmness always made him wonder if he really thought too much. "Okay, thank you, you too." Zylan nodded and was polite and courteous to Su Yuntang as always, but it was this kind of politeness that made the best actor Su feel like a knife was in his heart. Just now. It's not that Su Yuntang doesn't want to question. But at that moment, in front of Zylan's calm expression, he suddenly realized that he seemed to be in no position to question Zylan. She was single, let alone just coming out of Gu Huiyan's room. Even if she really had something to do with Gu Huiyan, or what they did in the room to play house, he was not qualified to say anything about Zylan. What's more, people say they are catching people to catch stolen goods. What did he catch? Zylan had a calm expression on her face. She didn't feel guilty at all. On the contrary, it seemed like there was nothing wrong with him and he had misunderstood. "Well, brother." Just when Su Yuntang was in a complicated mood, Gu Huiyan suddenly smiled at him, scratched his head, and said naively, "Don't get me wrong, Sister Zylan just came to talk to me about the script." In itself, Su Yuntang was comforting himself in his heart. He said that Zylan was not guilty at all, which meant that he had not misunderstood anything. But when Gu Huiyan said talk about the script, Su Yuntang immediately felt like a knife was stabbing into his heart. What the hell kind of explanation is this? All the actors and actresses in the entertainment industry use this excuse to hide in their rooms in the middle of the night and do bad things. This is the worst excuse, isn't it? Su Yuntang, who is also in the entertainment industry and is an actor, knows these saucy routines very well. Because of this, he is very sensitive to terms such as talking about scripts in the middle of the night, luminous scripts and so on. It was okay if Gu Huiyan didn't say anything. Once he said they were talking about the script, no matter how calm Zylan acted, he couldn't help but think more and more. What we are saying is that Siren, a movie queen, is talking about scripts with someone who has never filmed a movie before. Is there any advice you can give her? Are you really kidding me? His explanation really made Su Yuntang. You want to scold me, okay. Su Yuntang just wanted to say, I can accept it if you find a fresh excuse to excuse me. But actually, Gu Huiyan really tells the truth. Just say tonight, what did they do when Siren came to his room? Nothing has been done. We really just talked about the script. If there's anything else, it's probably a foot soak. Then you can't say that Zylan came to his room to soak her feet, right? That's even more excessive. This is like this. Although he was very depressed, the actor Soo was still there. Even if there were no cameras in private, he really didn't embarrass Gu Huiyan. The main reason is that Gu Huiyan is also very popular now, and they will record a show together tomorrow, and some people on the internet are calling them Ansu CP. It would be outrageous if they fall out. He just regretted using Gu Huiyan to lure Xilan here. My intestines are so wet. He never expected that he would create the first private situation in which Gu Huiyan and Xilan were alone in a room together. After Xilan left, Gu Huiyan invited Su Yuntang to sit in his room, and the two of them talked about the theme song. To be honest, Gu Huiyan felt a little sorry for Su Yuntang and admired him a little. He didn't even mention a word about the fact that Sister Xilan just left her room. It really seemed as if it never happened at all. As for the theme song, Su Yuntang wanted Gu Huiyan to give him a song that suited their program. As for the food program, it naturally had to be about food. Gu Huiyan smiled and said, "How about you go directly to Shang's Huiyan and ask for the copyright to use it in calories? This is quite suitable." Su Yuntang waved his hand and said that the song was good but a bit too slobbery. He had listened to it too much and wanted a new song. Not only must there be delicious food, but also freedom and romance. Gu Huiyan still had a headache after hearing this, because there seemed to be nothing in the system mall that met his requirements. To be honest, if the place wasn't suitable, Gu Huiyan would have wished he could have made him a big bowl of wide noodles. You want to say that Gu Huiyan has freedom and romance here? Summer from the new album can be directly licensed, but there is nothing to eat or drink in this song. After chatting for a long time, it turned out that summer was the most suitable. Su Yuntang said, "You try it. If it doesn't work, just use summer." Gu Huiyan nodded and said yes. One thing to say, although the actor Su said that he had a lot to do, he was not stingy. Gu Huiyan was asked to write the theme song, and the creation fee was of the highest standard. Even if he didn't write a new song and just used summer, he would still be given a lot of licensing fees. In fact, popularity in the industry is like this. People take advantage of you and ask you to record a show, write a theme song, play a guest role, etc. These are all jobs and can make a lot of money. Perhaps Gu Huiyan no longer needs to appear in variety shows to maintain his popularity, but in fact, Su Yuntang invited him to come to help him. Gu Huiyan was quite grateful for this. So, let's read again and see what to write. It was already late at night when he saw off the best actor Su. Gu Huiyan yawned and couldn't help but smile bitterly before going to bed and thought to himself, MD Sister Xilan and the best actor Su were tossing him alone, but after all the hard work, he still didn't have time to rest. Good morning. He had to record a program tomorrow, so he didn't think much about it and fell asleep. In a blink of an eye, the next day came. Pattering. The weather that day was not good. It rained in the evening and was still drizzling in the morning. Gray clouds covered the sky and the sun could not be seen. It's also a bit cold, and the wind blowing in through the windows is chilly. It's October, so it's time to cool down. People say that every autumn rain brings cold weather, and the next rain will make the temperature drop a little, making it even colder. There is no such thing as spring and autumn in Quancheng. After a few days of summer, winter begins almost seamlessly. It may be that one day, the temperature drops sharply, and you immediately need to wrap up your shorts in a down jacket. Isn't this? Yesterday, Gu Huiyan only wore a coat, but today it rained and he was forced to put on a vest. This is just when summer turns to autumn and winter. If winter turns to spring and summer, the temperature will fluctuate for a few days in between. You can see people wearing short sleeves and down jackets at the same time when walking on the street. It doesn't matter what season it is. Have a sneeze. When we met downstairs, Gu Huiyan kept sneezing and occasionally blew his nose with paper. The sound was a bit strange, and he looked like he had a cold. Because I blow my nose quite frequently, the tip of my nose is a little red. What's going on? Is the cold getting worse? Sitting in the rest area of the hotel, Xylin asked her assistant to help get a pack of cold medicine and helped Gu Huiyan make a drink. Gu Huiyan took out a piece of paper and wiped it. His nose was a little stuffy, and he said carelessly, "Sometimes I feel like these cold medicines, if you don't take them, you'll be fine for 2 days, but if you take them, it will get worse. I don't know if it's a problem with the formula." If it weren't for the fear that his sister would be angry, Gu Huiyan would even say that if Sister Xylin didn't force him to take medicine yesterday, he might be fine today. Even so, my sister also got his point, gave him a big eye roll, handed him the cold medicine and said, "Don't take it for granted and take your medicine quickly." After saying this, she added in a particularly resentful tone, "Little white-eyed wolf." Gu Huiyan shrank his head angrily and drank the cold medicine obediently. At this time, the actor Su also came down from upstairs. It is worth mentioning that his voice was a little awkward and he seemed to have a cold. "You too." Xylin looked helpless and handed Su Yuntang a pack of cold medicine and said, "You can drink a pack too and brew it yourself." In fact, Su Yuntang was quite touched when he first received the cold medicine from Xylin. She cared about him. But when she looked up, she saw Xylin taking Gu Huiyan's cup of cold medicine and helping him make another cup. He immediately felt that the cup of cold medicine he needed to brew by himself was no longer fragrant. Let's just say, don't treat them so differently. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 215. Early morning. The show starts. Maybe it was because yesterday's program was very effective. Just a few minutes after it started, the number of people online at the same time soared rapidly, reaching 7 or 8 million people. The barrage is going fast, and I'm really looking forward to today's content. When the cameras showed Gu Huiyan, the old man was holding a pack of tissue paper and blowing his nose. "Good morning everyone." When greeting the camera, everyone could clearly hear that Gu Huiyan's voice was a bit hoarse. Judging from his posture, he probably couldn't sing. The actor Su also had a cold, but it was milder than Gu Huiyan's. Gu Huiyan had a cold yesterday and didn't take it seriously. It just happened to catch up with the temperature drop that night and made it worse. Fortunately, he didn't have a fever, otherwise he might not be able to record the show today. Of course, even if this was the case, Xylin couldn't help but ask with concern, "Can we still record? If not, go back and rest first. Good health is definitely more important than work and money." Gu Huiyan waved his hands carelessly and said, "A little cold, it's okay." He didn't want others to care about him so much. He thought it was pretentious. Besides, the show they were recording wasn't going to a construction site to move bricks, let alone any physical work. They were just playing around. Would the cold delay anything? Then if you can't do it, tell us. Xylin nodded and stopped squirming. The few of them chatted for a few words and then went out to a nearby morning market. Pattering. Today's temperature is indeed a bit low. Walking on the sidewalk in Quancheng, it is drizzling. In late autumn, the leaves on the trees gradually turn yellow. After a rain, many leaves will be smashed by raindrops. People coming and going were carrying umbrellas and the road was not clean. Occasionally there would be some puddles. Gu Huiyan and the others would always get some dirt on their shoes as they walked around. But holding an umbrella and walking on such a small road actually has a different feeling. Sister Xylin, do you prefer rainy days or sunny days? Gu Huiyan asked Xylin casually. I just asked casually, but who knew that my sister smiled and actually said, "If you hadn't written sunny day maybe I would have liked rainy day." As soon as these words came out. Oh. At that time, some viewers became interested and thought that Sister Xylin was causing trouble. Gu Huiyan smiled helplessly and asked again. Then what if I write another song called Rainy Day later? My sister was quite calm when she heard this. She put her hands in her jacket pockets and chuckled. Then I like them all. Today, my sister is wearing a pure white long windbreaker, holding an umbrella in one hand and holding it in her pocket, not to mention too much. And as soon as she said these words, hey! Many viewers can't stand it anymore and want to know what the hell are you two doing? Gu Huiyan, you better remember that you have a girlfriend. And Sister Xylan, please stop being so flirtatious. The one who can't stand it the most is the actor Su. He wants to say that there is someone here. Can you two pay a little attention to other people's feelings? Silently holding his forehead, maybe he just happened to see a stall selling pancakes and fruits nearby. The actor Su once again used his change the topic method and asked Gu Huiyan. So we Shandong people usually eat pancakes rolled with green onions. Hearing this, Gu Huiyan was stunned for a moment. When mentioning Shandong, in fact, many people's first reaction was probably pancake rolls with green onions. I don't know who brought this tradition out, but now people all over the country seem to think that Shandong people often eat it and also like to eat pancakes rolled with green onions. It depends on the region. Some people may indeed eat it regularly, but our family almost never eats it that way. Gu Huiyan shook his head and smiled. To be honest, the pancake rolls are okay if eaten alone, but if they are rolled with scallions, they are really not delicious. If you can cook vegetables and steam buns at home, who will eat that? As soon as this was said, many locals in the comment area agreed. I still don't understand why people think that we Shandong people eat pancakes rolled with green onions all day long. Are you unable to eat? Is it because the meat doesn't taste good or the buns aren't filling enough? Why do you want to eat that stuff? This is an established impression, a local specialty. When I came back from school for the holidays, my classmates would ask me to bring them some pancakes and green onions. I was speechless. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x20. The system gave points for one shot. Seeing that Su Yuntang and Xylan might be a little confused, Gu Huiyan couldn't help but smile after thinking about it. You may not know that pancakes are actually more expensive than steamed buns and rice, and good quality noodles are even more expensive. Our family was very wealthy like me when I was a child, and steamed buns and rice would be good. Who can afford pancakes? As soon as these words came out, ah ha ha ha. It made many viewers laugh at once. Indeed, pancakes are really expensive now. In the past, white flour was a good thing, but few people could afford white flour, so they used coarse grains grown by everyone to make pancakes. It didn't cost much. But later on, everyone ate white flour. There were fewer and fewer people farming, and coarse grains became a rarity. Naturally, prices rose accordingly, and the pancakes at the coarse grain stalls became more and more expensive. What do those self-disciplined fitness and weight loss experts eat nowadays? Whole wheat bread, buckwheat noodles, whole grain steamed buns. These things are not cheap, and they are also whole grains. Strictly speaking, pancakes are similar to those, but the ingredients and production process are healthier than those. Many people may look down on pancakes. When they think of pancakes, they think of Shandong. When they think of Shandong, they think of soil. When they think of soil, they think that those things are very cheap at first glance. But in fact, that stuff is more expensive, healthier, and more delicious than your popular whole wheat and whole grains. That's it. After listening to Gu Huiyan's explanation, Xylan and Su Yuntang looked enlightened, and they were really in awe of the local pancakes. There are always some inconspicuous things in this world that you think are cheap, but in fact you may not be able to afford many of them. For example, the guardrail in the middle of the road costs at least 500 yuan per meter. If you hit it too much, you will lose your money. At this time, Someone in the comment area couldn't help but say. Actually, I think Xylan and Suyuntang can't understand this. On the one hand, they usually don't eat staple food, and on the other hand, they don't lack the money. Steamed buns and pancakes are almost the cheapest staple food. Ordinary people don't notice this kind of money, let alone celebrities like them who make a lot of money. In fact, Gu Huiyan said that the price difference between steamed buns and pancakes is yes, there may be a difference, but it is really impossible to say who can't afford it now. For people with high income levels, they don't care about this little money. You are like the pancakes he mentioned. Nowadays, pancakes with millet noodles may cost 10 yuan a pound, and those with corn flour are more than 7 yuan. But even so, it is not a problem for them to earn dozens of W a day. If you ask them, do they care about that amount? A dozen or so pancakes per pound. They really don't care. So what if I buy 10 or 100 pounds of it in one day? But this is the real people's livelihood, and this is what ordinary people really care about. Not to mention rural towns, people in cities will care about the price when they go to the supermarket to buy food, and they will also care about the price when buying steamed buns and noodles. This is the life of normal people. When most people talk about Shandong's local specialty pancakes, they only talk about pancakes rolled with green onions, pancakes, etc. Who cares that pancakes are more expensive than steamed buns? At this point, the audience actually felt that Gu Huiyan was quite close to them. Why are so many people calling Gu Huiyan my brother one after another? Because he is really like their daily friend, living an ordinary life. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x20. At the right time, the system gave Gu Huiyan another point. A few people chatted all the way to the nearby morning market. One thing to say is that the markets in the north, whether they are morning markets or anything else, are almost all simple and rough, with everything to eat, drink and do, and they are relatively colorful. When we were in Yunnan, everyone went out to catch the morning market. Gu Huiyan felt that their local market was a bit crude. This is not without reason. If you are used to the simple and crude markets in the north, it is really difficult to adapt to the style of the south. If you don't talk about anything else, let's just talk about buying vegetables. When people in the south buy potatoes, they may only buy one or two, and they have to ask someone to peel them. If you want to do this in the north, people may have to say, I think you look like a potato, do you want to peel the eggs for you? Another thing is to buy cabbage. In the winter, we stock up on cabbage at home. People in the north stock up on dozens or hundreds of kilograms of cabbage. If you come up here and give me a piece of cabbage, the boss will not even bother with you. Of course, this is not the Black South. It's understandable that people in the South generally eat less and buy less. As for peeling and other things, I do ask the boss to provide service, but prices are also high there. Things are expensive, so don't you have to provide good service? I walked around the morning market and had breakfast. I was just about to go to the scenic spots when the rain started to fall. Crash. When the seasons change, rain is a common occurrence. Gu Huiyan and the others may not have arrived at the right time, because it just happened to rain heavily today. Gu Huiyan, Xylan, and Suyuntang were also forced to follow the cameraman and take shelter from the rain under a nearby roof. I don't know if I can go to Zi to bake in the evening. Gu Huiyan looked at that day, a little worried. Under the same sky, it was not only Gu Huiyan but also Pei Jingshu who was worried. Pattering. It didn't rain heavily here in Qingtang, but it actually delayed Pei Jingshu's shooting. Pei Jingshu's eyebrows had been frowning tightly since the morning. If the shooting was delayed because of the rain, it might she wouldn't have time to go see Gu Huiyan at night. To be honest, she hates rainy days and is quite afraid of thunder. She never went out on rainy days before. In a blink of an eye, it was afternoon. What pleased Gu Huiyan and the others was that the rain did not fall heavily all the time, but it did not delay their recording. After lunch, we rested in the hotel for a while, and then we went to take the high-speed train together, intending to go to Zi for a barbecue. I don't know if it was arranged by the show crew or a coincidence, but they were still on the barbecue train. There were some small gifts from local officials on the car, which were quite exquisite. The actor Su also took advantage of the opportunity to help promote them. As for which barbecue restaurant to eat in Zibo, Gu Huiyan doesn't know. He is mainly responsible for taking Su Yuntang and Xilin around in Quancheng. He doesn't know the rules when going to Zibo. Gu Huiyan has been visiting Zibo barbecue for several months since the summer. Although this time it's a bit boring, he still wanted to give it a try. When there are a lot of people, it's boring to be crowded. It was already after 6 o'clock in the evening when we arrived in Zibo. In October's mountain winter, it would get dark after 6 o'clock. When Gu Huiyan and the others arrived at the barbecue restaurant, the stars were twinkling in the sky. In the evening of October, the weather is actually a bit cold, and the temperature difference between day and night is huge. At night, you can already see dear people wearing down jackets and riding electric bicycles. Therefore, Gu Huiyan and the others must not have barbecue outdoors, they have to go indoors. It is worth mentioning that when we arrived in Zibo, it was probably because of the good weather that the rain stopped and even the clouds dispersed. There are fewer people eating barbecue this season, but Zibo barbecue has been popular since summer, so there are quite a few people in the store. The arrival of Gu Huiyan and the others, although they attracted some attention because of the camera teacher, did not attract onlookers. I randomly picked a seat with few people and sat down, and then started ordering. Not long after ordering, the clerk here came with the small barbecue stove you usually see in the videos shows a few charcoal sticks that are about the same size. Actually, what makes their barbecue here different from other places is that the stove can keep the skewers hot all the time, and you can heat them up when they get cold. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but smile and said, "If you eat barbecue like we do, it would be fine if a waiter brings a plate of freshly grilled skewers to you every once in a while. If you just order as much as you want and grill it for you, then you can eat it." It got cold after a while, and I had to warm him up several times just to get hot. Best Actor Su nodded in approval and said that when he was having a barbecue in XJ, Inner Mongolia, they had a non-pit and something like that. The meat skewers were so good, it was very interesting. Gu Huiyan said that the one you are talking about is the big one. Have you seen the small one? I went to Sichuan a few days ago to make an announcement and ate their skewers. Wow, the corn can actually be pierced. I was dumbfounded. When I first ordered it, I was still wondering, is a bunch of corn so cheap? $1? Is this for charity? Once the dish was served, he realized what a string was. Su Yuntang laughed and said that people in the south generally have small appetites, just like buying vegetables in the morning. People usually buy less when buying vegetables, and their skewers are also cheap. Speaking of this, Gu Huiyan couldn't help but complain. He felt that potato slices, eggplant slices, and corn kernel skewers were all IQ taxes. Is this money so easy to earn? Before the food was served, the two chatted happily. Soon the barbecue they ordered came. The specialty here is that the skewers are not completely grilled, but half finished. Then they are put on the small barbecue stove and grilled by yourself. There are 2 shelves on the small barbecue grill on the table. You can put some roasted food on the top and eat it directly, and you can put some on the bottom that need to be roasted and roasted slowly, which is just right. At this time, Gu Huiyan would mention to Su Yuntang that the current season is not suitable. If it were summer, it would be really suitable to get some draft beer to go with the barbecue. Su Yuntang smiled and seemed to have no intention of mentioning the word wine, as if it was not polite to mention wine in front of the camera. And there is one thing he is embarrassed to say, that is, he rarely drinks beer, but more often red wine, white wine, rice wine, etc. Mainly rice wine, which nourishes the stomach and strengthens the kidneys. You can have a drink. But it was Xylin. She pointed to the refrigerator and said, I think there seems to be some different wine over there, how about we go over and get a few bottles? My sister is very cheerful and jokes, but she is from a minority group and has never been drunk by anyone. Gu Huiyan hesitated and asked. We're recording a show here. Is it appropriate? What's inappropriate? Xylin glanced at Gu Huiyan and said with a smile. You can't drink enough, are you afraid that you'll go crazy if you drink too much? It must be more than. Gu Huiyan waved his hand. On the night of Shang Zuoyan's concert celebration banquet, Su Xiun, Shen Yuqi and Han Xianji took turns bombarding him with red wine, beer and liquor. He was stunned to survive through 30 years and remain standing. He is a good drinker. When he drinks beer, he doesn't brag to anyone. When someone asks Gu Huiyan, he will raise his index finger. Not a mention, not a box, not a car. Instead, keep drinking. In the eyes of people who drink frequently, is beer also called wine? Drinking it till the end is no different than drinking water. Can we have a drink? Xylin asked Su Yuntang. Okay. Maybe it was because he felt the atmosphere was up, but Su Yuntang didn't hold back. It's not like you can't drink during the recording of the show. Then there are the shows recorded at the wine table. There are some things you can't say without drinking some wine. It is precisely because of drinking some wine that we can have more fun talking. So Gu Huiyan and Xylin went to the front desk to buy some local Taishan Puree 7-day beer. This is a bit different from the ordinary beer blended with industrial alcohol. It may not be as good as the fresh beer puree from the first and second factories, but it is still better than ordinary beer. Gurgling. Pour in the wine, the skewers are grilled, and after a mouthful of meat and a mouthful of wine, you immediately feel the energy coming up. The store served a kind of local pancake. To be honest, people usually don't eat pasta first when drinking wine, but who said this is a local specialty? Gu Huiyan didn't hesitate. He folded the pancake in half twice, dipped it in the sauce, and put onions on it. Pull up the skewers. Stuffing it in your mouth is a show-off. The grilled, charred, and tender meat skewers are mixed with the flavors of green onions and sauce in the shortbread. Not to mention how exciting it is after one bite. Eat slowly. Xylin couldn't help but pat Gu Huiyan. Why does this kid always eat so voraciously? Gu Huiyan explained that it was not about gobbling it up, but that the biscuits were easy to fall apart and if you couldn't finish it in one bite, it would easily get on your hands. It was better to just stuff it into your mouth. This is also the reason why he doesn't like to eat pancakes. It's not good to eat pancakes and rolls, and it's easy to make vegetable soup. It caused a burst of laughter from the audience, indicating that the truth was revealed, and at the same time, the system also gave Gu Huiyan a point. At the same time, a train rushed to Zibo. Pei Jingshu looked at the night outside the window, looking forward to it but also impatient. I hope it's a surprise, not a shock. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 216. On the table, there is not only barbecue and beer, but also some snails, which Gu Huiyan ordered. These things are not impressive in appearance, but they are so delicious. The soul is that you have to take a bite when eating them. Just like crayfish, the soup and other contents are in it. Actor Su seems to be hesitant to eat this food because it is said to be unhealthy, seems to cause cancer or something, but he should try not to eat it if he can. As time passed, several people chatted while eating. Asterisk backslash U0026 amp, percent UN hashtag @ The indoor barbecue restaurant here is quite large, and there are a lot of people. Gu Huiyan and the others arrived early, and around 7 or 8 o'clock is the time to start serving people. Gu Huiyan didn't even pay attention. As he was eating, there were people everywhere around him. When the surroundings started to get noisy, alcohol gradually began to take effect in the body, and the feeling of eating barbecue began to slowly come back. The temperature in the room was not low, and some of the older brothers nearby took off their shirts when they disagreed with each other. They were bare-chested and had red faces as they punched and braggered. The chatting at the nearby tables gradually became more and more unrestrained, and the sound and decibels gradually increased. Some tables were very loud, but because everyone had a loud voice, no one really cared about other tables. To be honest, if Gu Huiyan and the others hadn't been wearing their own microphones, the noise alone would have disturbed the entire audience. Fortunately, the audience did not find it noisy, but found the atmosphere quite comfortable. After a busy day of work, people came out to drink some beer and have a barbecue to relieve their fatigue, relax their inner pressure, and relieve themselves a little of the pressure of life. A breathless burden. Long-lost relaxation. Pretty good. Even the best actor Su was a little carried away and habitually spoke louder. While eating, I suddenly heard the sound of singing coming from a table near the door to the west. There seemed to be a group of young people at that table, seemingly college students. It was Saturday, so it was normal for college students to come out for a party or something in the evening. One of them, a boy with long hair who looked very virtuous at first glance, was holding a guitar and playing a melody that Gu Huiyan and the others were very familiar with. A table of young people sang along. On a windy day, I tried to hold your hand. But unfortunately, the rain gradually became so heavy that I couldn't see you. How much longer? That voice sounded familiar. Because it was very lively and attracted a lot of people's attention. Even Gu Huiyan and Xilan's eyes couldn't help but be attracted. Turn out to be. They were singing Sunny Day by Gu Huiyan. Sunny Day is the most popular song in Gu Huiyan's new album, and it is also the title song of the album. It is also the golden song that has been firmly at the top of the new song and hot song charts on all major music platforms so far. Because of this song, Gu Huiyan also received an invitation to the Golden Melody Award this year, and he is expected to win the award. And this song has become popular among all age groups. Among them, the popularity among college students has almost reached over 99%. After the release of Sunny Day, short video websites can often see scenes of college students playing and singing Sunny Day in playgrounds and dormitories, and there are even those. There is a power outage in the school, and a group of college students sing the famous scene of Sunny Day together with their mobile phones and flashlights. Various kinds. Reverse War is known as the divine song for primary school students, while Sunny Day is known as the favorite of college students. It's really not surprising to hear someone singing Sunny Day here today. A group of college students went out to party on the weekend. After drinking some wine, a man brought a guitar and could play Sunny Day. It happened that everyone sang together. It has nothing to do with social fear or social arrogance, it just fits the atmosphere. Several college students sitting around a table sang Sunny Day while eating barbecue. The wanton and youthful feeling immediately infected many people nearby. The shirtless eldest brothers at the table next to Gu Huiyan couldn't help but quietly picked up their own clothes and put them on, looking nostalgic, probably thinking of their lost youth. Your song. Xilan poked Gu Huiyan and whispered. The position where they sat was not very conspicuous. A few cameramen had set up the camera and went to rest next to it. The position of the camera was not very conspicuous. Gu Huiyan was still wearing a hat, so in fact they really didn't attract much attention. Gu Huiyan nodded and smiled. At this time, the barrage is flashing. Those people probably didn't realize that the original singer was right next to them. If I were Gu Huiyan, I would go over and sing a few words. AHH. If Gu Huiyan suddenly appears when I'm singing Sunny Day, I will really go crazy. Maybe, it's also the effect of alcohol. Gu Huiyan pressed the hat on his head, stood up, pointed over there, and said to take a look. Xylin and Su Yuntang nodded, and Gu Huiyan walked over quietly. There were actually some people watching around a group of young people singing, and Gu Huiyan just happened to blend into the crowd as he passed by. The college students who sang were both male and female. They were all dressed in colorful clothes and looked very young. They sang so happily that everyone around them was envious. Some of them were taking pictures with their mobile phones. In fact, this phenomenon is not uncommon in Zibo. It can be seen everywhere in Zibo in the summer when countless people come to Zibo for barbecue. At that time, many internet celebrities came to check in, and it was normal to sing and dance. Maybe it was because Gu Huiyan was wearing a hat, but those college students didn't recognize Gu Huiyan. But this is only temporary. A few moments. A girl wearing glasses who was facing Gu Huiyan seemed to have spotted him. She looked at Gu Huiyan at first and felt that he looked familiar. Then she looked carefully, stared at him, and looked at him again and again. The more I look, the bigger my eyes get. Oh. Oh. Hey. Her eyes widened and she slapped her friends around her repeatedly. My friend was still stunned. When he raised his head. Walk. Ah. He shouted directly. The people around them were singing happily. When these two people shouted, they were stunned, and when they turned around to look. I go. At that time, there were incredible expressions on their faces. How could they have imagined that they could meet celebrities when they went out for a meal? And we met. It's still Gu Huiyan. It's Gu Huiyan, the original singer of Sunny Day they are singing. Ha ha. Gu Huiyan waved his hand to the guy who was playing the guitar and said. You guys, keep going. That's what he said, but. No. How can we continue? Ah. Gu Huiyan. Those college students couldn't continue singing no matter what. With Gu Huiyan right next to them, how could they still continue singing? I just looked like you, it's really you, wow. The little girl with glasses was rummaging around for her phone, always getting excited. People around him also recognized Gu Huiyan one after another, and took pictures with their mobile phones. After all, he was a big star, and he still had a good reputation. Let's finish singing together. Gu Huiyan waved his hand to the little brother, indicating that he could continue playing. This little brother is so excited that his heart is trembling and his hands are trembling. He plays and sings Sunny Day in front of Gu Huiyan. How can you not make him excited? Today's young people who study music and pop music, there is almost no one who doesn't like Gu Huiyan. Especially after the release of his new album, he is simply a god in the hearts of many college students studying music. All the songs played on the street are his songs, okay. You are, my god, they can say this to Gu Huiyan casually. Who dares to claim to be invincible, and who dares to claim to be invincible? He is the only one who cares about Huiyan. Today, Gu Huiyan appeared in front of them in such an ordinary way. Who can not be excited? The excited guy playing the guitar made all the mistakes, didn't even pick up the guitar, and didn't even know how to play. Gu Huiyan took over the guitar and helped him play, and everyone sang together. The little yellow flower of the story has been floating since the day I was born. Just so suddenly, a chorus came. He took the lead as an original singer, and the college students sang along with their eyes shining brightly. They sang so loudly that even some people from the next table came to watch. The neighborhood is really getting more and more lively. This kind of picture was seen by the audience in the live broadcast room. Everyone was envious and couldn't help but express. To be honest, I really admire Gu Huiyan for having the guts to go through this. This old man is really not afraid that others will take him home excitedly. Haha, it's an exaggeration to take him home, but he is really down to earth. I have always heard people say that Gu Huiyan is down to earth, but many people actually don't understand the concept of down to earth. Now Gu Huiyan uses practical actions to tell them that being down to earth is always not just reflected in eating and drinking. Gu Huiyan never had any airs about dear people and fans. He was even willing to blend into the crowd and sing with them on a college student's guitar. There are always people who are looking down on Huiyan, saying that he is rude and unqualified, and that he is not good here or there. But how bad can a person be who can hear others singing his own song while having barbecue and go over to sing with them? He didn't have any bodyguards or assistants around him, and he wasn't dressed very flashy. He didn't make up and even wore a hat. He just sang and had fun with everyone. At this moment, Gu Huiyan is what everyone thinks of as a true star. Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x20. Not to mention the audience, even Xilan and Su Yuntang were a little envious of Gu Huiyan, because maybe they couldn't do this. Sometimes I really envy these musicians. They can rap and sing anytime and anywhere, and they can also stir up the atmosphere. How nice. Over there on the barrage, some people can't help but say. I usually only know that Gu Huiyan's voice is good, but I didn't expect it to be so good. No offense, I just want to say that when I heard those young people singing just now, I thought it was pretty good. But when Gu Huiyan opened his mouth, why did he feel that their singing immediately became bad? Among so many people's voices, why does Gu Huiyan's voice stand out so much and sound so nice? Ahem, is there a possibility that it's because he's wearing a hoodie? Are you allergic to romance? Gu Huiyan's voice is one of the best in the entire domestic entertainment industry. During Pei Jingshu's Singer of the Times singing competition, he just sang one line of Little Lucky and it immediately caused a sensation in the audience. Everyone recognized it. The timbre and singing skills that are quite recognizable among a group of professional singers will become even more prominent when placed here. How long will it take until I can be by your side? Maybe I'll be better off when the weather clears up. Once upon a time. The sound of singing filled the entire barbecue restaurant. People who just came in from outside heard their singing for the first time, and also noticed the crowd surrounding them for the first time. For example, Pei Jingshu and her assistant came in a hurry. The weather is getting cold, and the fair-skinned beauty Pei Jingshu usually bundles up tightly and doesn't like to expose her naked body. Today, she is catching the high-speed train and may not be able to go back in the evening. Her sister is afraid that she will catch a cold, so she wears more clothes. The black skinny jeans outline her straight and slender legs beautifully. There is a gap between the legs. This kind of very slender beauty is simply not suitable for wearing skinny jeans. A pair of marten boots of the same color with slightly wide soles just make the legs slimmer. For the upper body, Pei Jingshu chose a dark gray long-sleeved shirt, which had no special features. The finishing touch was that the jeans were high-waisted and stuffed with some long-sleeved hems, making her legs look very long and outlining the shape of her buttocks. What is worth mentioning is the lazy-style knitted cardigan jacket she wore. This dress is loose-fitting. Pei Jingshu is very thin. The inner part is tight and the outer part is loose. Matsuna tight hey. Just that outfit, not to mention too much lust. Not to mention, her long, straight black hair was tied casually at the back of her head and hung down a lot on her temples. In fact, there are some beautiful women. She is not deliberately beautiful, but just casually beautiful. You are like Pei Jingshu, who does her hair carefully, but sometimes it is not easy to do it. After all, she does not like to dye or perm her hair, and her hairstyle in front of the camera always remains the same. But in private, she tied up some at will and let down some. The messy and casual beauty complemented her beautiful face. Huh. Came in at a trot. Pei Jingshu's chest kept rising and falling, and she was still breathing. Although because she contacted the program team of a gourmet in advance, the program team's car picked them up at the airport, but Pei Jingshu was still worried about arriving late. She told the driver many times on the way that she could drive faster and get off the car. Later, ran all the way from the parking lot. She also knew that Gu Huiyan was there and he couldn't run away. No matter how late she came, the program team would tell Gu Huiyan and Gu Huiyan would wait for her. But she was still very impatient. She didn't know why. I just want to see him sooner. Fine. She caught up. At this moment, Pei Jingshu's heart was beating very fast, and her eyes were constantly looking for Gu Huiyan in the crowd. At the same time, she was also a little cautious, occasionally hunched over, and occasionally tightened the white mask on her face. She came to give Gu Huiyan a surprise. She didn't tell him in advance, so she definitely couldn't let him find out. A pair of water-like eyes scanned the crowd, but did not find Gu Huiyan's figure, but were attracted by the singing of the crowd over there. Once upon a time, there was someone who loved you for a long time, but over there was singing and dancing, many people were singing, and many people were taking pictures with their mobile phones. Because of the crowd, Pei Jingshu couldn't spot Gu Huiyan at the first time, but she recognized Gu Huiyan's voice immediately. Not to mention her, any dear person can recognize Gu Huiyan's voice. He is now also a first-line singer known as the new king. Thinking of this, Pei Jingshu couldn't help but take 2 quick steps and came to the back of the crowd with her assistant. When she came closer, Pei Jingshu stood on tiptoes and looked in. She immediately saw Gu Huiyan, wearing a hat and holding a guitar, playing and singing with a group of people around him. Even though I was singing to passers-by. Although there is no professional around me, there may be people who are out of tune. Although, he doesn't have any professional speakers or equipment. But he sang so happily. Pei Jingshu could easily see the joy on his face, and his singing and mood also infected everyone around him. Those college students danced excitedly, and people around him rushed to take pictures of Gu Huiyan with their mobile phones. Everyone sang along with him and cheered for him. Pei Jingshu was infected by such an atmosphere as soon as she arrived. At that moment, Pei Jingshu thought, even if she had just met Gu Huiyan, would she still be attracted to him like this? He is casual, real, relaxed and comfortable. This kind of him is the one she likes, right? Only occasionally, Pei Jingshu would look at Gu Huiyan with a little distressed look, because she could tell that his voice was hoarse and nasal, and he probably had a cold. His throat felt uncomfortable, but he still sang loudly. Not only Pei Jingshu, but the audience also saw this. Who didn't know that Gu Huiyan's cold got worse today, but he didn't take it seriously at all. How to sing with everyone, and he sang for free without charging money to Luren. Sing. He, Gu Huiyan. She is a first-line singer who earns millions in appearance fees for a commercial performance. Sing to the dear man for free when you have a cold. Who cannot be moved? Sister Pei, we. The assistant called Pei Jingshu and wanted to say that you are here, but why don't you go say hello and tell teacher Xiaogu? Don't you want to give me a surprise? Why don't you give it now? Don't. Pei Jingshu raised her hand. She really couldn't bear to disturb the atmosphere. She wanted to wait for Gu Huiyan to finish singing. The assistant held his forehead silently, not knowing what to say. We hurriedly walked slowly along the way. Because the rain delayed the filming, Pei Jingshu was so worried that she didn't eat at noon. Just now, she was asked to walk a few steps slowly on the road, not to run so fast, not to fall, but she was unwilling to do so. It was as if she was afraid of being slow. It seems like I can't see Gu Huiyan for a second. Now that you have seen the result, you are not in a hurry? She really didn't know what to say to Pei Jingshu. But, after all, She was really envious when she saw the way Pei Jingshu looked at Gu Huayan. The look in her eyes when she looked at him was full of love, full of fondness, full of joy of meeting again after a long separation, and full of "Long time no see, I miss you." Just in time. Gu Huayan led them to sing Sunny Day together. Pa bang bang. Oh. There were constant applause and cheers at the scene. Thanks, thanks. Gu Huayan thanked him and handed the guitar back to the little brother, wanting to go back. Don't go, brother. As a result, instead of being anxious to pick up the guitar, the college student shouted excitedly. I am your idol, no, you are my fan, oops. He was so excited that his mouth dropped. Ha ha. It elicited a burst of laughter. In the end, this guy finally calmed down and said, "Can I hear you sing another song?" As soon as these words came out, everyone around me was excited. Oh. Who can not be excited when celebrities sing live? Sing one. Please. Sing another one. Several female college students around him were making noises and jumping excitedly. Maybe it was because the atmosphere had reached the point that Gu Huayan didn't refuse. He thought about it and said with a smile. Then let me sing you a newly written song. This song is about long-distance love. It's called, We Must Be Together No Matter How Far Away. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down-to-earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 217. Long-distance relationship? Is it with Sister Pei? Oh, looking forward to it. You just have to torture these talented musicians to write good songs. Speaking of which, Lao Six's new album has only been released a few months ago. Is there any new song? The purple stars coming from the sky are real. Before Gu Huayan became famous, there was often a rumor circulating inside and outside the industry that he was the purple star from the sky in domestic entertainment rumors. Later, this was confirmed. His current development momentum is not comparable to that of ordinary traffic niche students. After Crystal Love season ended, some marketing accounts compared him with some young people. After the release of the new album, Gu Huayan directly it belongs to Ascension. Completely breaking away from the boundaries of the mundane world, he became the new king. He was no longer awaiting to explode, but was about to explode. There is no one to compare with. Now, it may have been a few months since his new album became a big hit, but the popularity of his new album has not subsided. Sunny Day is still a hit all over the internet and has become an invincible player in the Chinese music industry. But today, he said that a new song is coming out. This is quite surprising. Oh. The audience at the scene was quite enthusiastic to begin with, and they became even more excited when they heard that Gu Huayan was going to sing a new song. Those college students were holding their mobile phones and jumping excitedly. You can imagine that they will brag about Gu Huayan today for the rest of their lives. When they turn around and bump into passers-by, they want to say, "How did you know that I met Gu Huayan at barbecue and he sang a new song for me? This kid." Xylin and Su Yuntang in the distance couldn't help but shake their heads and smile. "Want to take a look?" Su Yuntang asked. "Gu Huayan's new song is still worth watching." Xylin thought about it and originally wanted to go, but when she thought about him saying that his song was about long-distance love, about him and Pei Jingshu, then what was she doing there? "Forget it, go ahead." "If I can't go, I won't go either," Su Yuntang smiled. He raised his glass and signaled. Xylin smiled and the two clinked glasses. In the center of the crowd. Ding dong dong. It was obviously the same guitar, and the buttons had not been turned or tuned, but in Gu Huayan's hands, the melody played was crisper and more pleasant to the ear than the one played by the college boy just now. Everyone gradually became quiet. Many people were filming with their mobile phones. They may be excited, but they have the most basic qualities. There are no speakers and no subtitles here. Everyone is afraid that they cannot hear what Gu Huiyan sings. Of course, Gu Huiyan would not be so quiet. After a crisp melody came to an end, he sang. I want to listen to the music you have listened to, and I want to read the novels you have read. I want to collect every moment, I want to see the world through your eyes. Thinking of the places you've been and the times you've spent. I don't want to miss a moment. I wish I could always. Beside you. Oh. Just listening to the few simple lyrics that just came up, many people couldn't help but get goosebumps. Listen to these lyrics. Thinking of the places you have been and the time you have spent. I don't want to miss a moment, I wish I was always by your side. The audience wants to say, this is what Gu Laolia wants to say to Pei Jingshu. Gu Huiyan said that this song was about a long-distance relationship. He and Pei Jingshu were in a long-distance relationship, and they often got together and separated frequently, often not seeing each other for months. Yesterday on the bus, at the suggestion of actor Su, he called Pei Jingshu. Some people said, are they not familiar with each other? Therefore, we question whether they are a screen couple. But do you think they are really an on-screen couple? It's not that. Actually, the long-distance relationship when I was in school was easier to talk about. After all, I had a lot of free time. The long-distance relationship after work was really difficult to talk about. Especially Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu, who have irregular working hours and are very busy. It's not that they don't send messages or make phone calls, it's just that they really can't spend time together. For example, Gu Huiyan sent Pei Jingshu a good morning and asked her what she had eaten in the morning. She might have been busy at that time, and it was already noon when she saw it. And she saw it at noon and replied that Gu Huiyan might be participating in an event or recording a show at noon. Sometimes it was late at night after recording the show, and it was almost time for breakfast the next day, so she replied that she had something to do the morning before. On the subject of breakfast. How can we talk about this? Tell me, how to talk. The same goes for phone calls. When Gu Huiyan calls Pei Jingshu, his assistant and manager sister usually answer. It's not that Pei Jingshu doesn't give Gu Huiyan spanks. She spanks less but she knows how to spank. She has a calm personality but misses her too. But after the new album hit, Gu Huiyan was so busy that he didn't have time to do it. Most of the time it was his assistant who did it. When you call and the other party doesn't answer the call, and you often wait for the other party's assistant to tell you, then why bother to call? Every time you call, you will be afraid that he or she will not answer the phone, and you are hopeful to hear his, her, voice, but it is not him, her, who answers the phone, so how can you still call? Yes, maybe they will call back after they are busy, but when they call back after they are done, the other party may be busy again, and the assistant will answer the call again. There is no way to fight. There's really no way to talk. Because of this, the exchanges gradually became less and less. The phone call between Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu yesterday took place several months ago. We haven't contacted each other for a whole few months, and it's almost like we're not strangers. How is that possible? It is precisely because of their long-distance relationship background that everyone knows about Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu's long-distance relationship, so when they heard the song together no matter how far away, it will be like that. Move. Very immersive. Everyone was drawn in. Along with it, Pei Jingshu was watching. Tears began to appear in Sister Pei's watery eyes, and the tip of her nose was sore and she wanted to cry. It's not sad, it's distressing and sad. Long-distance relationships are difficult for Gu Huiyan, so how can they not be difficult for her? Wherever we go in the future, it doesn't matter if you are happy with me. I know you the most, you love freedom, but I love you even more. Gu Huiyan played a few notes lightly, paused briefly, and fully increased the emotional value. Let's just say, A professional singer is a professional singer. Gu Huiyan's voice is as recognizable as ever and very silky. Whether it is the audience watching the show or the dear people at the scene, they can clearly hear the difference between his voice and the voices of the dear people just now. He sings as if he has a CD player installed in his throat, with built-in reverberation. That's really a blessing from God. It is worth mentioning that because Gu Huiyan had a cold today, his voice was actually a bit hoarse and his nasal voice was very heavy. But it is precisely because of this particularly strong nasal sound that it gives the song together, no matter how far away, a bit more uniqueness, as if the voice is hoarse but it still has to be sung, giving people a very pitiful feeling. At this moment, anyone who has ever had a long-distance relationship will probably feel a little sad and want to cry. How many lovers have been ruined in a different place? I can get used to the long distance. Gu Huiyan played and sang. Love is always involuntary. His face was a little red because of drinking. I would rather, in other words, at least be able to love you from afar. He was probably feeling it deeply, so his face gradually lost all the nonsense, and instead became a little melancholy. Love can overcome distance, stay together no matter the distance. As the key was raised, Gu Huiyan sang very loudly, as if he wanted to vent his pent-up feeling in a foreign place through his singing. You no longer exist in my world. Please don't leave, my. Remember. After Gu Huiyan finished the chorus. Oh. Ah. Pa bang bang. Whether it was the dear people at the scene or the audience watching the show, everyone couldn't help but get goosebumps and let out various shouts. Some people at the scene even raised their hands to applaud. In fact, there were not only some young people, but also some elder brothers, sisters, uncles, and aunts, but even them felt a little conquered by Gu Huiyan at this time. Even if you don't understand the lyrics of this song together, no matter how far away, you will still find the melody very nice. Gu Huiyan is also famous for his timbre and ability as a singer. He can also sing this aspect. Goosebumps to all. Not an exaggeration at all. And once you have a little understanding of the lyrics of this song, combined with the background of Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu's long-distance relationship, the emotional rendering is really out of control. If anyone else at the scene had also experienced the long-distance love sung in Gu Huiyan's song, the resonance would be endless. It is worth mentioning that some shiur said in the comment area. What do you mean you no longer exist in my world? Please don't leave my memories. Why do I hear these lyrics and it sounds like, my sister Pei is dead? Sister Pei, just because I'm not with you means I'm dead. Ah ha ha ha. Dong 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 dong. Another chorus cycle, Gu Huiyan's melody began to rise high, his hands quickly brushed the strings, and he sang. I no longer exist in your heart. Leave me alone to keep my memories. If the sun were always hot. If only the rainbow stopped losing color. Can you? I'm not leaving. Oh. The goosebumps everyone had just gotten started again. Talking about the melody alone, in fact, the whole song together no matter how far away is very nice, but the best thing about it is that you feel that this section is the climax, but it still leaves you with higher music later. Climax. For example, just now, Gu Huiyan sang the chorus twice, and you thought you were done climaxing, so he turned around and said these few more words to you. Finally, he hit a high note. The lyrics of Can You Not Leave Alone have touched many people, and when coupled with Gu Huiyan's high note, the emotional value of that moment has really reached its peak. In the crowd, Pei Jingshu's tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. She didn't raise her hand to wipe it, not because she was afraid of smearing her makeup, but because her attention was focused on Gu Huiyan and she had no intention of doing anything else. At this moment, she thought that Gu Huiyan was worthy of her admiration. At least at this moment, she was also Gu Huiyan's light chaser. You no longer exist in my world. Please don't leave, my. Remember. After the last chorus was sung, a complete song together no matter how far away was presented to the audience. Free. Whoring for free. In fact, Gu Huiyan didn't intend to finish singing completely. Usually he would sing half of a song, just 2 lines at a time. This was also the case in Crystal Love Season. On the one hand, half a song can show the appearance of the song, and on the other hand, it is to prevent plagiarism. But I really couldn't hold it in tonight. This song will make the person singing it feel addictive and make you not want to stop. Because he drank a little bit tonight, and because the song resonated so well with his long-distance relationship with Pei Jingshu, he sang it all without realizing it. I've reached that mood too. Oh. Pa bang bang. After Gu Huiyan finished singing, there was another burst of cheers and applause. It's amazing. The barrage is going crazy. This song is another famous song as expected. It's so silky and smells so good. I don't know how Sister Pei feels when she sees it. You two should quickly get together and show your affection. I really can't stand it anymore. I feel sorry for my brother, okay. This guy misses Sister Pei as soon as he sees him. Sister Pei, if you don't come here, I will sing you to death in Lao Lu's songs. You're allergic to romance, right? After listening to this song, everyone is looking forward to Pei Jingshu's reaction. You must be more moved than them, right? Thanks, thanks. In the crowd, after singing the song, Gu Huiyan nodded and thanked him, and immediately handed the guitar back to the young man. Can we take a photo together, bro? I like you so much. My daughter really likes you. Seeing that Gu Huiyan was finally free, many people came over to take photos and sign autographs. For a while, Gu Huiyan became a favorite and was surrounded by many people. In the crowd, Pei Jingshu sniffed, took out a tissue from her bag, wiped the tears on her cheeks, and found a small mirror to see if her makeup was stained. After making sure it was correct, she put on her mask again, took a bouquet of jasmine flowers she had prepared from her assistant, then squeezed through the crowd as much as possible, and walked around the position behind Gu Huiyan. A few people were a little angry when they were squeezed by Pei Jingshu, but when they turned around and saw that this was a pretty girl, they not only didn't care about it, but couldn't help but look at her a few more times. As they looked at it, they noticed something was wrong. This girl. He looks so familiar. Pei Jingshu's appearance and temperament are so recognizable that even if she wears a mask, her appearance cannot be sealed at all. When she was in Dali, Gu Huiyan took her to the ancient city to eat rice noodles in the morning. Even if she wore a mask, she would attract onlookers, let alone here. Originally, Gu Huiyan was taking a photo with some college students around him. Many people were watching him, waiting for him to free up to take a photo with him. Then the barrage was discussing how Pei Jingshu would react to hearing this song. Just at this time, everyone, all clearly seen. In the crowd, a beautiful figure holding flowers quickly jumped out, raised her hand, and covered Gu Huiyan's eyes. Gu Huiyan was a bit tall, so Pei Jingshu couldn't feel it if she kissed him from the front, but she had to stand on tiptoes to cover his eyes from the back. Then, whether it was the people at the scene, the audience in the live broadcast room, or Su Yuntang and Xilin who were watching from a distance, they all stared at the scene with eyes wide open and a look of disbelief on their faces. Suddenly a girl rushed out and made a very intimate gesture with Gu Huiyan. What's happening here? What are you doing, my wife? You don't know that my brother has a girlfriend. If you miss, just say it. Are you just a fan of Pei Jingshu's family? Wait, why does she look familiar to me? Is it Sister Pei? At this time, the barrage began to flood. At first, some people did not recognize Pei Jingshu, thinking that it was a female Luren fan who got excited and gave Gu Huiyan an intimate hug. Many dear people at the scene were also startled, and even the 2 female college students next to them wanted to pull Pei Jingshu away. Gu Huiyan was also a little panicked at the moment when the world suddenly turned dark, and subconsciously wanted to push the girl away. But it will be the next moment. Guess who I am? Pei Jingshu suddenly asked Gu Huiyan. She is Pei Jingshu, an absolutely powerful singer like Gu Huiyan. She was able to surpass many senior singers to win the singing title on Singer of the Times. How is her voice unrecognizable? Many people seemed to recognize Pei Jingshu, and as soon as her voice came out, confirmed immediately. The barrage in the live broadcast room next door exploded. Sister Pei. It's Sister Pei. I will never admit her mistake. I have been a fan for 10 years. I will never admit her voice wrong. Pei Jingshu, let me tell you again, I have only been out for 10 years. Sister Pei. Why are you here? I'm so excited that I don't know what to say. Is she giving Gu Lulu a surprise? Wow, it's so sweet. I always thought this kind of thing would only happen in the videos I watched, but I didn't expect celebrities to do this too. Whoever said they were an on-screen couple, I crawled along the internet cable and strangled him to death. At this time, Pei Jingshu was like a drop of water dripping into the oil pan that was almost boiling because of Gu Huiyan's together no matter how far away. In fact, many people can watch videos on the internet, in which men and women in a long-distance relationship secretly surprise each other and go to the other person's city to meet him secretly. But to be honest, they really didn't expect that in reality and privately, big stars like Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu would do such things. Especially Pei Jingshu. In everyone's eyes, she shouldn't be a proactive girl. She should just wait there, saying nothing or doing nothing, and everything will come to her. Even if she didn't call Gu Huiyan or contact him, no one would say anything wrong, because this was in line with her personality and character. But today, under circumstances that no one expected, she quietly came to Gu Huiyan and gave him a surprise. Obviously, Gu Huiyan had just finished singing together no matter how far away, which was related to their long-distance relationship, and she appeared behind Gu Huiyan. Look at the bouquet of flowers she is holding. What is that? Jasmine. Sending you jasmine, I wish you never leave me. The flower language of jasmine is, it is not allowed to rain anywhere. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 218. No, you're. Don't do this, I have a girlfriend. It's hilarious. Whether it was the dear people at the scene or the audience watching the show, there was almost no one who could not recognize Pei Jingshu. Only Gu Huiyan. The old man still doesn't know why these people are cheering so much. He thought a girl was covering his eyes and they were just making fun of him. Then Gu Huiyan's consciousness as a boy with a girlfriend began to cause trouble, and he came out to take the girl's hand off. Puff. At that time, many viewers laughed crazy, and everyone said, "No, Gu Lulu, are you really not familiar with Sister Pei? Why is it that you are the one who doesn't recognize Sister Pei every time?" Haha, I still remember that in the episode of Crystal Love Season when Sister Pei returned, he was the only one who didn't recognize her, and he shouted something to Sister Pei, "That's enough for anyone. One more can. One can per person." Ah ha 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 ha. With Pei Jingshu's appearance, figure, temperament, and voice, no matter where she goes, no matter who she is, she can be recognized at first sight. But every time, Gu Huiyan couldn't recognize her. They all heard the sound, but still didn't recognize it. Just let these people say what they say. Sometimes it's not just the little guys with exposed chicken feet who like to spread rumors, but Gu Huiyan is really too careless. Sister Pei's appearance today to surprise him is actually to break the rumors of screen couple and they are not familiar with each other. He didn't recognize Pei Jingshu's voice. No one can save this pig teammate. Pook. Pei Jingshu also smiled. She removed her hand from Gu Huiyan's eyes and waited until Gu Huiyan turned around. She raised her hand and took off the mask on her face, revealing her beautiful face that could make the whole screen go crazy. I go. Sister Pei is so good looking. The face is as important as the country. This is me, Sister Pei. Oh my god, she's so beautiful. The barrage went crazy the moment Pei Jingxia showed her face. She is so beautiful, that face is like God's most exquisitely carved face. She really doesn't need too many compliments. People with eyes can't tell where this face is flawed. After all, she is also the woman who once participated in foreign events and flipped up her hair and was trending in neighboring countries. Oh! Some people at the scene couldn't help but be amazed the moment they saw her face. As the saying goes, the camera can really make people look ugly, and Pei Jingxu is no exception. The Pei Jingxu that everyone usually sees in front of the camera looks like a fairy, white, thin and beautiful. But seeing her in reality makes her feel even stronger. Especially when compared with the dear people. Among the table of college students that Gu Huiyan came over just now, there are two little girls who are growing up quite well. When the camera was shown to them just now, a few LSPS said that you sing these two first and I will take them away first. But when Pei Jingxia came over and she didn't take off her mask, you felt like the two female college students were immediately outclassed. As soon as she took off her mask, well, everyone's eyes couldn't see her, and they all subconsciously couldn't help but stare at her. What a delicate and proud face. Some people can't help but sigh. This is a female star. At this time, someone next to you will correct you and say, yes, this is the best among female celebrities. There are so many beauties in domestic entertainment, but only Pei Jingxu has been recognized as a famous face. Do you think I'm kidding you? The key to the problem is that she not only has a beautiful face, but also has a very slender figure and a very good temperament. She looks soft and frail, but she is tall and has very straight shoulders, which makes her feel fresh and refined in the crowd. Everyone just wants to say that she is indeed the female star known as White Moonlight. Everyone here is amazed. Gu Huiyan's side was completely different. He had never thought that Pei Jingxu would come. Just now when someone covered his eyes, he thought it was a dear man. At that moment, he was thinking whether he would need 2 bodyguards in the future. If this thing is forced to be kissed or pressed on the chest by some girl, the world will be dark and it will be over. He even thought about how to teach the girl who covered his eyes when he turned around. But when he turned around, when his eyes saw the extremely familiar, exquisite, and beautiful face that appeared behind him, Gu Huiyan's eyes suddenly widened. Later, some fans of his family said that this was the biggest eyes they had ever seen in Gu Huiyan's eyes in all the time they had known him. Don't blame him. What a surprise. He had just sang the song together no matter how far they are about their long-distance relationship, but Pei Jingxia suddenly appeared behind him. How could he have thought about it? At this moment, his mind was confused. He didn't even hug Pei Jingxia immediately, but subconsciously raised his hand and twisted his face. He doesn't have any makeup on, so his face will be a little oily. There are so many people in this room and the temperature is high. He's also been drinking, so he'll be a little sweaty. So it doesn't feel good when you twist it yourself, it's oily and sticky. But Gu Huiyan really felt a kind of pain that could not appear in a dream. The pain told him that all of this was real and none of it was fake. Real? It is true. Pei Jingxu was real, just like that, she appeared in front of him. Puff. His actions successfully made many people laugh. From staring to pinching faces, many viewers really went crazy laughing. The barrage was flooding at this time. Gu Huiyan, you're such an idiot, you're almost done. Hey. Okay. We all know you're surprised, we all know you didn't expect it, we all know you're happy, can you please stop showing off? Haha, when he didn't recognize Sister Pei's voice, I was also wondering if they were really unfamiliar with each other, but seeing him like this, I'm sure they are sweet. Gu Huiyan, it doesn't matter, I will take action. When many people said that they are not familiar with each other, Gu Huiyan told everyone with his expressions and reactions that he and Pei Jingshu were really on good terms, and there really was no problem. They haven't seen each other for too long. It's just too much gathering and too little separation. At this time, no one would doubt him or them. You have to ask why. There is a Shiur who gave the answer. If Gu Huiyan is acting like this, then the best actor Su Yuntang will be his. He's not an actor. The system doesn't even add acting skills. If that wasn't true expression just now, what else could it be? It's precisely because it shows true feelings that it's so infectious. Okay. What are you doing? Pei Jingshu was holding the bouquet of jasmine flowers. It seemed that there were too many people around her, and she was a little shy, but she still raised her hand to help Gu Huiyan gently rub her face, which was a little red because he had pinched it just now. To be honest, Gu Huiyan did use a lot of force just now, and it made her a little red, and now she's a little numb. But Pei Jingshu's hands were ice cold. Like an ice cube, stroke it gently, giving him a cold compress feeling. No. How could you, you? The corners of Gu Huiyan's mouth suddenly wished he could grin up to his ears. After he realized what he was doing, he was a little incoherent and didn't know what to say. Did you arrange it? He actually didn't talk to Pei Jingshu the first time, but asked the program team. The program team shook their heads, and a PD teacher replied. She took the initiative to contact us and said she was coming. Ah. Gu Huiyan was a little nervous at that time, and tears began to appear in his eyes. In fact, a grown man shouldn't shed tears. Men shouldn't shed tears easily, let alone a well-known straight man like Gu Huiyan. But I really can't control that feeling at this moment. When he had just finished singing together no matter how far away, when he himself was still immersed in their helpless and powerless long-distance relationship, and he had not yet come out of the context of the song. Pei Jingshu suddenly covered his eyes, appeared behind him, and brought him a bouquet of flowers. How could he not be moved or excited if you let him? The biggest difference between humans and animals is that humans are emotional animals, and humans will be dominated by emotions. In some very touching moments, tears are like a physiological reaction, which is beyond your control. At this moment, it is not your brain that makes you cry, but your body that is moved to shed tears in response to this excitement. This is the so-called stress response. Before this, Gu Huiyan had never thought that the word stress response could be used here to describe. But he really couldn't stop crying. To be honest, he felt a little embarrassed. Why are you crying? A big man is doing this in front of so many people. There are cameras filming there, and there may be dozens or millions of viewers watching. He just sang Sunny Day and Together no matter how far away under the watchful eyes of so many people. Everyone cheered for him, it was so flamboyant, and it was such an occasion to show off to others. Wouldn't it be very shameful for him to cry now? But he just can't control it. No one knew how much he wanted to see Pei Jingshu in the past few months. At first, it was just a simple miss, but after Shang Zuoyan's incident, he really wanted to see Pei Jingshu, more than ever. He doesn't want to be willful, and he also knows that she has a mature personality and doesn't like being willful, so many times he doesn't dare to leave work and go find her willfully. Therefore, their feelings and love will be very restrained, so restrained that it drives people crazy. Gu Huiyan is not usually a person who likes to show off his skills, but when he sang together no matter how far away just now, he showed off his skills many times. At that time, everyone may have thought that the atmosphere had reached the point where he drank some wine and didn't pay attention, but in fact, he just wanted to use the song to release some of the restraint and depression in his heart. And at this moment Pei Jingshu appeared in front of him. When the face that he thought about day and night and appeared in his dreams so many times came for him with a bouquet of jasmine flowers in his arms, he really burst into tears. It was those days and nights when all the longings, the depression of not being able to say what I wanted to say, all gathered into my eyes and turned into tears and flowed out. "Why are you crying?" When he cried, Pei Jingshu couldn't hold back. She had already burst into tears when Gu Huiyan sang together no matter how far away. Later, she was able to control it a little because she wanted to be as beautiful as possible when she saw him. But now when Gu Huiyan cried, she couldn't help but feel the soreness on the tip of her nose, and she couldn't control the tears that she had managed to hold back. She is so delicate, and when she cries, everyone wishes they could give her the whole world just to coax her not to cry. She walked forward, stood on her tiptoes a little, raised her beautiful hands and hooked them around Gu Huiyan's neck, so that his head could be buried on her shoulder. She didn't want the boy she liked to be embarrassed for others to see. She knew that Gu Huiyan I feel ashamed for crying. Gu Huiyan also grabbed her slender waist under her knitted sweater and hugged her tightly, as if he was trying to pull her into his body. Facts have proved that human emotions resonate. When you see others laughing, you will want to laugh. When you see others cry, you will also want to cry. Just like Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu now. Watching them hug each other and cry, they also cried with joy. Whether they were onlookers at the scene or the audience watching the show, they couldn't help but feel infected and couldn't help but shed tears. The barrage is flooding at the moment. AHH. This is the first time I cried like this while watching a program. My sister thought I was watching a Korean drama. I guess Korean dramas don't have such killing scenes. I also experienced an unforgettable long-distance relationship. When she came to me, I didn't even hold back. I was so touched. Some people say that they are a couple on screen. I just want to say that if they are fake, I will live broadcast and eat 5 tons of sex. If they break up one day, I really don't believe in love anymore. They are the only couple in the entertainment industry that I believe is true love. This moment. There should be blessings. It should even be, it's all a blessing. Look. Even Xylin and Su Yuntang couldn't help but look at them with envy. Su Yuntang's envy was probably because of their love. They ran in both directions and reunited after a long absence. The tears they shed were all touching and sincere. And Siren's envy. It was more like envying Pei Jingshu for being able to embrace Gu Huiyan's arms so openly. She seemed to be standing in the light forever, as if she was holding the purest jasmine flowers in her hands. Gu Huiyan hugged Pei Jingshu for a long time. To be honest, he was very at ease at this moment. After what happened with Shang Xuoyan, even though he seemed to be fine on the surface because he was busy, in fact, his heart was always hanging. Shang Xuoyan was so warm and sincere to him that she even put down all the dignity that she was proud of, but he refused. But there may not be a single phone call with Pei Jingshu for a month, and there is absolutely no communication. He rejected Shang Xuoyan like that for her, and even hurt Shang Xuoyan, but even telling her was a luxury. Such a gap would make him unable to help but occasionally think about whether Shang Xuoyan would be more suitable for him, and should he choose Shang Xuoyan more? This is not to blame for other people's behavior, but people will have gaps when faced with this kind of thing. And it wasn't until he hugged Pei Jingshu that he truly felt at ease, no longer entangled in his choice, no longer questioning himself or Pei Jingshu. He was just enjoying this moment. Similarly, perhaps at this moment, he was also glad that he rejected Shang Xuoyan. Otherwise, he wouldn't be enjoying this moment, it would just be guilt. The reason for rejecting Shang Xuoyan was just to live up to her own conscience. He is such a person, a real and upright person. To be honest, Gu Huiyan is quite contented. He may not have seen her for several months, but just hugging Pei Jingshu makes him very satisfied. Pei Jingshu's words. Isn't she like this? To be honest, When Gu Huiyan hugged her, he only expressed his superficial feelings, but in fact, she was not comfortable. This kid drank alcohol and smelled of alcohol. He also sang because he drank alcohol and was sweating just now. When hugging Pei Jingshu, these will actually rub against Pei Jingshu. What's more, this guy held her so tightly that she couldn't breathe. But Pei Jingshu doesn't care at all. She loves to be clean, but she doesn't want to push Gu Huiyan away at this time. In her eyes, the smell of Gu Huiyan makes her feel at ease. Well, shouldn't a man have the same smell on his body? Does it smell like sweat or alcohol? This is what a man should be. If he smells better than you and is cleaner than you, then you really have to worry. Hey. Possible. It's probably because it's too sweet. The audience gradually couldn't stand it anymore. Someone said, Gulalu, can you please let me go? My sister Pei can't even breathe. You are such a big boss, why don't you put all your weight on me, sister Pei? Ah! He buried his head in my sister Pei's shoulder. Those are my sister Pei's shoulders. Good guy, why don't you go to Yuzu now and go directly to Xiangjian? Ha ha ha. Maybe he realized that he was too excited. Gu Huiyan raised his head, wiped the tears from his face, and said, I'm sorry I was so excited. No. Pei Jingshu held his hand, clasping their fingers together naturally, and said, It's been too long since we last met. Gu Huiyan laughed out loud when he heard this. He took the tissue box next to him, took out one, and carefully wiped the tears on Pei Jingshu's face. Then, he took off the grey hat he was wearing with great detail, placed it on Pei Jingshu's head, and lowered the brim of the hat to cover her face as much as possible so that no one could see what she had just seen. The look of crying. Ah! Some people around me go crazy eating sweets. Let's just say that Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu are too detailed. Pei Jingshu knew that Gu Huiyan would find it embarrassing for a grown man to wipe his tears in public, so she buried his head on her shoulder when he cried. And Gu Huiyan would rather show Pei Jingshu her ugly hairstyle in front of the camera and the audience when she was embarrassed to cry, and also give her a hat to wear. The romance of this kind of details, don't mention how sweet it is. To be honest, looking at the entire domestic entertainment industry, only Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu find it so sweet. After all, the two of them were watched by countless spectators all the way. To be honest, if their house collapses one day, there will really be countless people. Again. Also. No. Mutually. Letter. Like. Affection. Got it? Thank you to all the big brothers for the rewards. There are too many people to count them all. I will keep them all in mind. Thank you all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 219. After saying hello to the onlookers, Gu Huiyan took Pei Jingshu's hand, walked out of the crowded crowd, and returned to the table where Xilan and Su Yuntang were sitting. This was arranged by your program team? Xilan asked Su Yuntang. Su Yuntang picked up the teacup and took a sip. He waved a folding fan in his hand. He smiled noncommittally and did not answer. Pei Jingshu is a top-notch actress after all, and it is against the rules to come to the filming location of their program without saying hello. Besides, she also needs to ask the program crew about their specific location, so she said hello in advance. As the producer and owner of the show, actor Su Yuntang must know. Xilan pursed her lips and said nothing. When Pei Jingshu came over, she showed a familiar gentle smile and said hello to Pei Jingshu. At this time, an audience member said, I feel like I'm dreaming back to Crystal Love season. Yes. Aren't Gu Huiyan, Pei Jingshu, Xylin, and Su Yuntang the official supporting cast of Crystal Love Season? Wait a moment. After Gu Huiyan brought Pei Jingshu over and sat down, he ran to the shop owner and got a new pair of bowls and chopsticks. After bringing them over, he helped Pei Jingshu break them open, rinsed them with hot water, and wiped them with paper towels. Just put it in front of her. Then he went to operate the small barbecue oven on the table and grilled skewers for Pei Jingshu to eat. Not to mention being very attentive. Puff. The audience was all happy and couldn't help but express. I see that this is Sister Pei here. The treatment is really different. Gulalu, you kid, watch your face. He is really good at details. I finally understand why he captured Sister Pei's heart. Gu Huiyan always wore a hat in the afternoon, so he didn't really have a hairstyle to speak of. The hat had been pressed down all afternoon, and when he took it off, his whole head looked old and ugly. There was nothing he could do. Who asked him to put the hat on Pei Jingshu's head? But it was such a stunned and silly Gu Huiyan that made the corners of Pei Jingshu's mouth keep rising. Pei Jingshu always talks very little and doesn't like to be clingy. Even after seeing Gu Huiyan for a long time, she didn't hold his hand or hook his arm all the time. But her eyes seemed to be always shining with light as she looked at Gu Huiyan. When the camera gave her that look, many people admired her. Cough. As the host of the show, Su Yuntang coughed lightly and said with a smile. We also took advantage of Xiao Gu. As soon as these words came out, there was a burst of laughter, especially from the staff of the program team, who laughed from the corners of their mouths to their ears. Pei Jingshu, a top-notch actress, usually has a lot of work and a very busy schedule, so she can't easily find time to appear in variety shows. Moreover, the advertising fee for her last show was almost among the top in the industry. During Crystal Love Season, Mother Zhang complained to Gu Huiyan, saying that her advertising fee was the same as Zhang Shuo's, and the two of them accounted for about half of the show's guest budget, which was the highest among the guests. And today, she is a. It's free, come on your own initiative. Not a penny, just to give Gu Huiyan a surprise. Let's just talk about this. Doesn't it mean that they have taken advantage of Gu Huiyan? Ha. Gu Huiyan smiled and said. I didn't expect her to come. It's really, quite a surprise. He glanced at Pei Jingshu, who happened to be looking at him as well. Gu Huiyan couldn't help but say. I feel like she always gives me surprises. I never gave her any surprises. Indeed, it seemed that Pei Jingshu had surprised him the last time she followed him home secretly. Gu Huiyan always felt that Pei Jingshu's character would not be willing to do some willful things. If he was willful, it would cause trouble to her, but it seemed that in their relationship, Pei Jingshu was always the one who was willful. Just what happened today made Gu Huiyan couldn't help but wonder, should he give Pei Jingshu a surprise once in a while? Pei Jingshu's pretty face turned red, she smiled softly and said. It doesn't matter, it will still grow in the future, I'll just wait. She was always not good at saying love words, and she felt a little ashamed to say such words, but even so. Ah! A bunch of melon-eating people are still so sweet that they don't want it. The two of them, are so sweet. It's the sweetest thing for couples who are in love to spread sugar openly and openly, right? As expected of Pei Ban taking care of CP whom they watched coming all the way. Hey, okay. Gu Huiyan was still smiling like a fool, and was ridiculed by a bunch of netizens. Ahem, you two are almost done. The actor Sidhu couldn't stand it anymore and couldn't help but complain. He used his change the topic method to chat with Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu. What about Siren? My sister was sitting on the side, listening and watching with a smile on her face. She would occasionally drink a few sips of wine and laugh along, but she didn't get involved very much, and she didn't take the initiative to find topics. Seems a little boring. Pei Jingshu's arrival was actually not too early. Gu Huiyan and the others had almost eaten by then. They originally planned to leave after singing, because she ate for a while and chatted for a while. About 10 o'clock. When the number of people in the barbecue restaurant here began to decrease, actor Su took the lead and everyone recorded an end together, which ended the recording. Gu Huiyan came to record the first session of his gourmets and this ended. As soon as the recording ends, Xylin took her white windbreaker and put it on, stood up, straightened her clothes and hair, and said she was going back. Su Yuntang wanted to ask her to stay a little longer, but her sister smiled and said to Gu Huiyan, "I might be a little bit infected by sitting with you, and I feel a little like catching a cold." Hearing that Xylin might be unwell, the actor Su must have been anxious, and immediately said that it was better to go back and rest quickly. "I will send you." "Need not." Xylin still wanted to refuse, but the actor Su was very determined. The actor Su is also interesting. His toughness is always used when Xylin is not feeling well. If he were so tough normally, he might really be able to catch Xylin. "Then let's meet the crew later." After saying hello to Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu, Xylin and Su Yuntang left. The crew. Xylin walked on the front foot and then on the back foot. Pei Jingshu looked at Gu Huiyan with some suspicion. It wasn't that she was suspicious, she couldn't make that kind of expression. She just stared at Gu Huiyan with a pair of watery eyes, as if she wanted to see through Gu Huiyan. "Ah, I got a new movie with Sister Xylin," Gu Huiyan explained to Pei Jingshu. To be honest, he felt a little guilty when Pei Jingshu stared at him for a moment, because after all, he and Sister Xylin had also kissed. After listening, Pei Jingshu nodded lightly. Just when Gu Huiyan thought everything was fine, she asked again. "Is there a kissing scene?" "There should be." Gu Huiyan's eyes wandered. Pei Jingshu. Aim. At that moment, Gu Huiyan felt the air get colder. "Ahem, it's just filming." "Sister Xylin, are you still worried?" Gu Huiyan explained comfortingly. At this time, Pei Jingshu issued another soul torture. "Then why do you want to write a kiss scene? Didn't you say that you wrote the script? Then you don't have to write the kissing scene at all." "What do you mean by writing the kissing scene? Do you also want to kiss the female lead who plays with you?" That. Gu Huiyan wanted to say that this was a script given by the system and I was not involved. "How do I know?" But it was not easy to say this. One thing to say, Pei Jingshu is a bit scary when she is jealous. She talks little, but she uses moves to defeat the enemy. Every point is just right, so Gu Huiyan doesn't know how to refute. Just when Gu Huiyan didn't know how to explain it, she looked at Gu Huiyan's stupidity and suddenly smiled again, shook her head slightly and said, "You must have your reasons for writing like this. The plot needs to be understandable, but try to pay attention to the scale. You should know." One thing to say, Pei Jingshu also knows CPU, but she's from a KTV, she slaps a sweet date, her scale is just right. These ladies are not only polite, but also never silly. If you, Shangzhuoyan, encountered this kind of thing, you would definitely chirp and just say that you don't allow all kinds of tantrums. It is absolutely impossible to say that you understand Gu Huiyan. Call. Gu Huiyan was relieved when he heard this and said, "That's for sure." The two chatted for a while, but it was getting late and the store was almost empty. Gu Huiyan originally planned to leave, but the assistant came over to remind Pei Jingshu that it was time to leave. "Are you leaving tonight?" Gu Huiyan's tone at that time was quite pitiful. "It's been so long since we've seen each other, and we haven't even been intimate for a while. After staying for a while, we leave, and we still don't know when we'll see each other next time. What's the point?" He thought Pei Jingshu would stay at least one night. "There's nothing we can do about it, we took the time to come out." Pei Jingshu reluctantly explained to Gu Huiyan that she took time out to come here because she was filming in a nearby city. She had other work tomorrow and could only spend tonight on the plane. This. Gu Huiyan didn't know what to say. On the one hand, he didn't want Pei Jingshu to leave, but on the other hand, Pei Jingshu felt a little sorry because he took the time to come over and sacrificed her rest time. For a moment, Gu Huiyan was a little silent. A long time. He raised his eyes and stared at Pei Jingshu, held her hand and asked, "Can you not leave?" To be honest, he also knew that this was a bit immature, but he just wanted to be willful once in a while and ask Pei Jingshu to leave if she could. Originally, Pei Jingshu didn't want to leave, but when he asked, she immediately stopped holding back. "The tip of my nose is sour, and my tears are about to flow down again." "All right." Pei Jingshu tried her best to restrain herself. She raised her two slender hands and tidied Gu Huiyan's ugly hair. Then she took off the hat that Gu Huiyan had put on her head and put it on his head again. She said, "I told my sister that I will try to schedule my work as slowly as possible next year so that I can have more time, She had said so what else could Gu Huiyan do? Gu Huiyan came closer and hugged Pei Jingshu gently, and Pei Jingshu also hugged him, and the two of them enjoyed the last tenderness. Just as his mouth was right next to Pei Jingshu's ear, Gu Huiyan opened his mouth and said, "I have something." Halfway through his words, he suddenly changed the subject. "Forget it, don't talk about it, it's nothing." Pei Jingshu was still a little confused. Why was Gu Huiyan so hesitant to speak? "No, it's nothing." Gu Huiyan waved his hand and finally said nothing. He felt that it was better not to talk about Shang Zuoyan's matter and just pretend it never happened. Anyway, if nothing unexpected happened in the future, he and Shang Zuoyan would not have any more communication or quarreling. Pei Jingshu is quite understanding. If he doesn't say anything, Pei Jingshu won't ask and respects his privacy. After the hug, Gu Huiyan saw Pei Jingshu off, and the program team's car at the door took her back. After seeing her off, Gu Huiyan returned to the hotel. "To be honest, I have a cold today and I don't feel very comfortable. I drank again. I'd better go to bed early when I go back. After today, it's another busy day at work." It was almost when he returned to the hotel that Gu Huiyan saw that he was on the hot search list. Hashtag Pei Jingshu made a surprise appearance in One Food Guest. Hashtag Gu Huiyan's together no matter how far away is, don't be too heartbroken. Hashtag just after singing the song about long distance love, they met. Hashtag Gu Huiyan is crying. Hashtag at once. Maybe Gu Huiyan didn't expect that the fact that he cried would become a hot topic. He really felt that this matter was quite embarrassing. That old man was so crying that it became a trending topic. Is there anything more embarrassing than this? But netizens disagree. And to be honest, they didn't laugh at Gu Huiyan. Instead, the comment area was filled with warmth. It can be seen that Gu Huiyan really misses Pei Jingshu. For such a straight man, crying in front of others can be embarrassing, which is more uncomfortable than death in society. Ah! Gu Huiyan cried and Sister Pei buried his head in her shoulder. Sister Pei cried and Gu Laoliu took off his hat to cover her. The two of them are so sweet and know how to take care of each other's feelings. You are worthy of being looked after by my most trusted companion Pei. Whoever said they were an on-screen couple will just cut off their lips. Oh, Sister Pei is working hard tonight. What's the meaning? We haven't seen each other for so long. Can't this young couple be intimate with each other? Ha ha ha, Mr. Gu is so lucky. Let's just say that hard work is also hard work for Gu Huiyan, right? How can Lao Niu plowing the land be considered hard work? Why can't I understand what you are talking about? It started with envy. Later, the Xiu'er gang started teasing. The young lovers reunited after a long separation, full of longing and enthusiasm. Why don't they make a good fire to burn it that night? Just chatting, many fans have pictures in their minds, and they can't help but blush just thinking about it. Of course, the only fans of Pei Jingshu's family are still crying and shouting. It is said that ever since Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu confirmed their relationship, they have been shouting and cursing Gu Huiyan. At first, they could still complain and complain, but then Gu Huiyan became famous and his fans became more and more loyal. When he was scolded, he started scolding him back, so gradually they didn't dare to scold him anymore. He could only stare and get angry at those people who said that Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu must be intimate tonight. These LSPS. Gu Huiyan was speechless when he saw those comments, not because he was afraid of being criticized, but mainly because Pei Jingshu left at night, and he was alone. He had fantasized about something like them at night, but now he was alone in the room, so there was a huge gap, you know. Gu Huiyan held his forehead silently. Sometimes he felt sorry for himself. He was already a big boss, but he still had to stay alone in a hotel room. And just when Gu Huiyan was complaining in his heart, dong dong dong, there was a knock on the door. Gu Huiyan was stunned for a moment. Who was knocking on his door again at this time? Why use and? Because Sister Xylan knocked on his door last night. But tonight, Sister Xylan said she had left due to work reasons. Who would knock on his door at this time? Gu Huiyan walked over and took a look at it. His eyes widened immediately, and then he opened the door immediately, almost in a hurry. Why did you come back? With a look of surprise on his face, he looked at Pei Jingshu standing at the door, wearing a grey knitted jacket and tight jeans. Pei Jingshu took off her mask. She looked at Gu Huiyan's surprised expression and couldn't help but blush slightly. She chuckled and said, I just want to be willful again. Half an hour ago. The cars have arrived at the airport. Pei Jingshu always recalled the scene when Gu Huiyan said can you not leave in her mind, and also recalled the words that he wanted to say to her but did not say. During this meeting, she always felt that Gu Huiyan had something to say to her, and that he seemed to have something he couldn't say. This will make her feel uncomfortable leaving. It felt like they had very little communication, and they never discussed how they should communicate. She had not contacted her during this period and felt that it was not such a thing. She had to have time to discuss with Gu Huiyan how they should interact, and they couldn't just leave like this. What's the point of kissing, hugging, and then leaving every time we meet? So she thought, how about going back tonight? As soon as this idea came up, it really got out of control and spread crazily in her heart. Tomorrow's work is actually not very important. She can just say that she is not feeling well and find an excuse to shirk it. The people at work should also understand. But to be honest, she has never done such a thing. Generally speaking, she must do what she agrees to. This is her rule, but if it is for Gu Huiyan, it's not like she can't do it once. Anyway, this is not the first time she has done something bad for him. Princesses who have tasted taboos will always remember the sweetness of taboos. Thinking that Gu Huiyan was so surprised to see him tonight, he would be even more surprised if she went back, so Pei Jingshu did just that. Here at the hotel. After arriving, Pei Jingshu asked the program team the house number of Gu Huiyan's room, then opened the room for the assistant, and went straight to Gu Huiyan's room. To be honest, she didn't think much about it at the time. She just thought that he would be very happy and surprised when she went back. At this time, Pei Jingshu, who was standing at the door looking at his surprised and happy expression, was also quite happy, but soon, she realized something was wrong. Because next, well, Gu Huiyan hugged her, and then kissed her arbitrarily and unreasonably. The kiss was more passionate than any time they had kissed before. Boom. He carried her inside, kicked the door shut, pushed her against the wall, kissed her, and to take off her clothes. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 220. Chapter 219 I take it off myself. Pei Jingshu is very simple. When she was planning to come back, she thought about the work she missed by going back, how surprised Gu Huiyan would be, and whether she would be willful by doing this. But she never thought about what it meant for her to come back quietly in the middle of the night and appear at the door of Gu Huiyan, a drunk single man's room. Yes. A drunken single man. It sounded quite vulgar, but to be honest, Gu Huiyan didn't know why. He always drank during such emotional moments. When I was in Yunnan, I was forcibly kissed by Sister Xylin on the terrace of AB/U0026B at night. She drank alcohol in a nearby bar. When she was in Guangzhou, she forced her to be a guest at Shang Zuoyan's concert that night, and she was drunk a lot by several of her teammates at the celebration banquet. Today, I drank some beer again because I was having a barbecue while recording a gourmet. This alcohol. It's really something that can amplify people's desires and make people's hormones secrete to the top. Just now, Gu Huiyan looked at the hot surge. He is still in his prime of life and occasionally imagines some unspeakable things. When Pei Jingshu came back, she stood there with such a look of anyone can take what you want. How could you let Gu Lulu endure it? To be honest, he endured it very hard that night with Shang Zuoyan, and he almost got pushed by her. That night was because conscience, reason, and other things restrained him and prevented him from doing that. After all, he and Shang Zuoyan had a shady relationship. But with Pei Jingshu, it was fair and above board. Gu Huiyan dared to say, "This is my girlfriend," wherever he went. So what if the paparazzi took the photo? My girlfriend, what's wrong with us sharing a room and a bed? Any questions? Because everything was suitable and reasonable, the moment Pei Jingshu appeared at Gu Huiyan's door, he was really occupied by some unknown thing in his mind, and he kissed her without hesitation, and put her away. He hugged her in, pressed her against the wall and kissed her excitingly. Well. Pei Jingshu's pretty face turned red. She had never been kissed so passionately by Gu Huiyan. She was too shy to even look at Gu Huiyan. Because it was so close and so hard, Gu Huiyan's male aura and his breath would hit Pei Jingshu, making her feel hot. But she is still quite sensible. When Gu Huiyan reached out to take off her top, she did not let him do it, nor did she raise her hands to let him take off her top easily. Instead, he grabbed Gu Huiyan's wrist and pressed it as hard as possible. Huh. Maybe because he was being held down, Gu Huiyan regained some of his senses, the kiss lasted a bit long, and his exciting heartbeat was also accelerating crazily, so Gu Huiyan's breathing was a little rapid. He stared straight at Pei Jingshu, but Pei Jingshu seemed a little afraid to look up at him. She lowered her head, her face was as red as a red apple, and she looked extremely attractive under the dim light of the hotel. Gu Huiyan grinned and couldn't help but make a joke and said, "Are you playing hard to get with me?" He just wanted to say, "You are all back, why are you not allowed to touch them?" Pei Jingshu smiled. She raised her eyes and glanced at Gu Huiyan, then blushed and spat. "Greasy. Hey. Gu Huiyan didn't take it seriously at all, but took off his shirt in front of Pei Jingshu. October was the season for wearing long sleeves. Once the long sleeves were taken off, Gu Huiyan's upper body was exposed naked in front of Pei Jingshu. I didn't have a job before, and as an idol, I had to invest in myself, so Gu Huiyan would go to the gym and exercise when he had nothing to do. Although I have been busy with work in the past 6 months and have no time to go to the gym, but I have not gained any weight despite working back and forth, so I actually have some muscle lines. What are you doing? Pei Jingshu was startled and quickly raised her hands to cover her eyes, but she couldn't help but secretly opened her eyes and looked at Gu Huiyan through her fingers. How attractive a woman is to a man is how attractive a man is to a woman. This is a mutual interaction. What surprised Pei Jingshu was that Gu Huiyan actually had muscles and lines, and was not a thin dog. What else can I do? Gu Huiyan directly picked up Pei Jingshu from the waist. Pei Jingshu struggled a little and said, Don't, I didn't come here to mean it, Before she could finish her words, she was put directly on the bed. Gu Huiyan leaned over and kissed Pei Jingshu again before she could say anything. Well. Pei Jingshu wanted to resist, but she didn't have the strength. Probably only when Gu Huiyan wanted to take off her clothes, she would raise her hand and press her down, and then like a frightened rabbit, she would shrink towards the head of the bed and say, Too fast, really too fast, don't. She is actually quite firm on this point, probably because of her family upbringing since childhood. She is a relatively traditional woman at heart. She feels that even if it is a relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend, it should be done only when they are talking about marriage. It's okay to do that kind of thing. She liked Gu Huiyan very much and was willing to give him everything she had, but in this kind of thing, she always felt that it was too fast, too fast. She made Gu Huiyan happy like this. Gu Huiyan said, You're not going to let me hold you and sleep all night, are you? Just, why can't it work? Pei Jingshu grabbed the quilt and covered herself. To be honest, her curves were really pretty. Lying on the white hotel sheets in black tight jeans, she was really attractive. I'm not a eunuch. Gu Huiyan said that this was not a novel. The eunuch protagonist in the novel could hold a woman and sleep all night without doing anything. I am not the one, I am just a man in the prime of his life. Pook. Pei Jingshu was even amused by him. She sat up from her knees, quietly took Gu Huiyan's hand, and made an excuse to say, I have work tomorrow and I've been very busy lately, and what if I can't walk tomorrow? She heard that some girls find it difficult to walk after they go out to rent a house with their boyfriends for the first time, and some are even unable to walk. Staying here tonight is already very willful. If she can't go back tomorrow and delays for a few more days due to health reasons, it will be too much. This. Her words really tied up Gu Huiyan. To be honest, Gu Huiyan was riding a tiger now. He really didn't want to let Pei Jingshu go, but he couldn't bear to use force on Pei Jingshu. Maybe he wouldn't be angry with Pei Jingshu if he tried to force him, but he just feels like he can't go through with his conscience. Gu Huiyan was silent for a moment, took a long breath, and said with a disappointed look on his face, Fine. After saying that, he stopped standing by the bed and sat on the chair beside him helplessly, holding his waist and taking a sip from the water glass. At this moment, Gu Huiyan is not so considerate or gentle. Instead, he seems to be having a little temper. But Pei Jingshu didn't feel that she had been coldly violent at all. Instead, she got up from the bed, came to Gu Huiyan in a funny way, held his hand and said, Don't be angry, huh? Gu Huiyan glanced at her, shook his head and said, I am not angry. You're not angry yet. Pei Jingshu really didn't expect that Gu Huiyan had such a side. She walked up to Gu Huiyan, straightened her messy black hair a little, raised her chin, tilted her head, and kissed Gu Huiyan. A long time. Can you stop being angry? She stood up and asked with a red face. Gu Huiyan was non-committal, neither saying yes nor no. Pei Jingshu was at a loss for this little man, so she blushed and said tentatively, I didn't open another room anyway. I'll sleep here anyway. We can sleep on the same bed, except for that, I'm free to do whatever you want. Maybe it was because she was too embarrassed. After she finished speaking, she blushed shamelessly and simply turned her back. With her hands behind her back, Pei Jingshu lowered her head, feeling embarrassed and wanting to pick her feet. The room was quite quiet, maybe because there were fewer people in the hotel during the season, and there was no sound from next door or the corridor. Gu Huiyan looked at the shy Pei Jingshu with a helpless smile. Did he actually want to say that I look like a beggar? What about you, the beggar? But I also feel that it is not easy for Pei Jingshu to achieve this step. Well. Gu Huiyan sighed and thought to himself, what age is this? The relationship between him and Pei Jingshu was really traditional. Fine. In the end, he softly agreed to Pei Jingshu. In fact, he also knew that for Pei Jingshu, it would be pretty good to be able to do this. Just like this, if Pei Yan knew about it, she would be able to kill him overnight. Aren't you angry? Pei Jingshu turned around, raised her hand to hook Gu Huiyan's neck, and stared at him shyly. Where am I angry? Gu Huiyan frowned and said helplessly. I've never been angry, why should I be angry with you? Pei Jingshu smiled and thought to herself that this person has a really tough mouth. Her two arms were placed on Gu Huiyan's shoulders, wrapped around his neck and hooked like this. Maybe she was a little taller, so she stood on her tiptoes slightly. Gu Huiyan hooked her waist. This action made Pei Jingshu's waist very tight. Gu Huiyan's hug felt very good. One thing is that Pei Jingshu's waist was so thin that Gu Huiyan felt like he could hug 3 or 4 of her. Well. Gu Huiyan kissed Pei Jingshu. Hugging and kissing, for some reason, Gu Huiyan tried to lift Pei Jingshu's top again. Say, didn't you all say no? Not that. Pei Jingshu Qiao blushed shamelessly, broke away, and held Gu Huiyan's hand again, with a sulky expression, as if she was saying that your words don't count. I do not have it. Gu Huiyan smiled helplessly and said. Then you don't take off your clothes when you sleep. For a moment, Pei Jingshu was speechless. Right. Gu Huiyan chuckled and stretched out his hands to take off Pei Jingshu's pants. Don't. Pei Jingshu was like a little white rabbit, retreating so fast that she just retreated to the edge of the bed. She stirred for a while and sat directly on the bed. Gu Huiyan didn't move forward, but looked at Pei Jingshu with interest. His eyes seemed to say. You can tell me whatever you want. You're not going to let me hold you and sleep with you all night without taking off your clothes, are you? Okay. Pei Jingshu was so embarrassed that she could only say. I'll take it off myself. With that said, she gently unbuttoned her top. At that time, some white and tender skin was already exposed at the collar. Gu Huiyan swallowed his saliva and looked forward to it. Who knew? I'm going to the bathroom to take off my clothes. A pair of eyes scanned around the room, and Pei Jingshu actually found an escape passage. With that said, she quickly stood up and ran to the bathroom. Gu Huiyan. With a question mark on his face, Gu Huiyan quickly chased after him, grabbed Pei Jingshu's hand, and said. You're a little boring now. No way. Pei Jingshu shook Gu Huiyan hard and grabbed her wrist, saying. Then before going to bed, how can I not take a shower? Do you take a shower every day in winter? Her chin was slightly pouted, and the simple way she nodded her head made Gu Huiyan feel a little guilty. You are vicious. Gu Huiyan really suppressed the fire and let go of Pei Jingshu's hand. Looking at Pei Jingshu, who immediately rushed into the bathroom after being released by him, Gu Huiyan said that you have the ability to keep your clothes on all night tonight. Rustling. Standing at the door, Gu Huiyan heard the sound of undressing coming from inside. After a while. Pattering. There was the sound of the shower sprinkling again. To be honest, Gu Huiyan feels uncomfortable standing at the door. Just imagining this is enough to kill you. He felt like a crazy person standing at the door, so Gu Huiyan simply stopped standing and ran to the room to drink water. Gu Huiyan felt a little sleepy as he drank more, but he couldn't go to bed early tonight no matter what, and he definitely couldn't take it easy, just like Pei Jingshu. What made Gu Huiyan a little speechless was that Pei Jingshu's bath was so nearly an hour and a half. There was no sound of water sprinkling in the shower, and Gu Huiyan couldn't help but go over and say, "Are you not planning to come out tonight?" As a result, as soon as he finished speaking, the sound of shower water started ringing again, and Pei Jingshu said, "It's not washed yet, so why worry?" The sound of the shower never turned off as soon as it was turned on. Later, Gu Huiyan couldn't stand it anymore and couldn't help but go over and urge, "Water is the source of life, can you please stop wasting water so much?" Pei Jingshu was stunned and pretended not to hear him. Later, Gu Huiyan didn't want to rush him anymore, so he said with a helpless smile, "Okay, come out, ancestor. I won't touch you, okay? Don't get cold or lack of oxygen in there." Pook. Gu Huiyan could hear her laughing inside. After a while, she finally came out. In fact, Gu Huiyan also knew her intention, which was to bathe as long as possible. It would be best if she came out and Gu Huiyan fell asleep. However, Gu Huiyan went over to remind her every once in a while and told her clearly that there was no way I could fall asleep. Knowing that she couldn't hide, Pei Jingshu had no choice but to come out. Pei Jingshu came out of the bathroom wrapped in a pure white hotel nightgown. The chest was tightly wrapped, but some of her white and tender skin was exposed to the air. At the hem of the nightgown, a pair of white and delicate jade legs are exposed in the air. They may be two jade lotus-like calves, but they are very attractive because her feet were bare. She was so anxious to go in that she didn't even get her slippers. She wanted Gu Huiyan to get them for her, but she was afraid that the big bad wolf would rush in as soon as she opened the door and wouldn't leave. When she came out, she could only go barefoot. It is worth mentioning that although she did not wash her hair, because her hair was quite long, the ends of her hair were a little wet. The black hair was wet and stuck to the white nightgown, giving people a poor feeling. At this moment, Gu Huiyan was lying on the bed, holding his head with one hand. He didn't drink water or look at his mobile phone. He just stared at Pei Jingshu with interest, as if looking at some art, with a smile. "What a slutty one. You, why do you look at me like that?" Pei Jingshu glared at him, and Gu Huiyan chuckled without saying anything. He just raised his hand and patted the space beside him on the bed reserved for Pei Jingshu. Pei Jingshu pouted. She actually didn't want to go, but at this point, it seemed unrealistic for her not to go, right? He said he would do whatever he wanted tonight except for that matter, how could he break his promise? Have no choice. Pei Jingshu had no choice but to suppress her shyness and walked over with very small steps. Sitting next to Gu Huiyan and beside the bed. She didn't lie down or lean over, she just sat with her back to Gu Huiyan. She was always very reserved. On the other hand, it was Gu Huiyan who couldn't wait any longer. He stepped forward and grabbed Pei Jingshu's shoulders and pushed her down on the bed. "What are you doing, Just when Pei Jingshu wanted to resist, Gu Huiyan held her down and kissed her. This guy was dishonest. He was groping everywhere with his dirty hands. He quickly pulled his nightgown off, but after taking it off, Gu Huiyan was dumbfounded. "You still have clothes on in your nightgown. The clothes you wear inside are definitely underwear, not outside. Then, don't you just have to wear underwear when sleeping?" A hint of cunning flashed across Pei Jingshu's face. She looked a bit like a little fox at this moment. She took the opportunity to pull the quilt over herself, exposing only her shoulders with slings. She also told Gu Huiyan, Don't you take a shower." "I've washed it," Gu Huiyan replied. "Oh." Pei Jingshu pulled the quilt, covered everything below her eyes, and stared at Gu Huiyan very carefully. "You're such a master." Gu Huiyan made her so angry that he couldn't help but give her a thumbs up. Possible. It was also very late, and Gu Huiyan was a little sleepy after drinking. He knew that he couldn't touch Pei Jingshu tonight, so there was no point in bullying her. So it would be better not to just rub it, and there would be no way to relieve the anger. Thinking that he would have to get up early tomorrow, Gu Huiyan sighed, lay down and hugged Pei Jingshu. Explain. Sleep. He suddenly calmed down, but Pei Jingshu was still a little uncomfortable. With her big eyes rolling, she began to find some topics to talk to Gu Huiyan. She didn't want to miss this night. Maybe she couldn't play house, but she couldn't really just hold her and fall asleep. A long time. She just squirmed gently in Gu Huiyan's arms and asked. What happened to that strawberry mark that was mentioned online some time ago? Gu Huiyan was almost asleep when she suddenly asked. At that time, Gu Huiyan suddenly became excited. Pei Jingshu was even shocked. Pei Jingshu frowned. Why did he react so much when the strawberry mark was mentioned? Could it be that something really happened?